thought we were going to get a huge upset to start the college football season on a Thursday night, but the Fighting PJ Flex could not hold on. Ohio State comes back. How about Central Florida coming back late last night in a delayed game against Boise State? Then you saw some blowout wins as well. Tennessee, no problem with Bowling Green. NC State, big. Coastal Carolina, big. Appalachian State, not a big problem with East Carolina. And college football is back just like that. Welcome into the Thursday morning or the Friday morning edition. We're here, one day away for Gamecock football, recapping a big night of Thursday night football. Hope your Friday morning's off to a good start. We got a full house here. Tim Hill, Bill Gunter, Patrick Perrette, and Jen Jensen. Bill, what stands out to you from last night with the college football slate kicking off?
The first thing that caught my attention last night was the ease of Appalachian State kind of defeating East Carolina. I thought East Carolina would be a little bit better last night, or App State's were really good. I'm not sure which one to make of that. We were on the live stream last night doing that thing. And big thanks to everybody who joined us there. And I feel like I was Roy Kent because my ADD was kicking in. I was here. I was there. I was every bleeping where. Bill Gunter. It's hard. So I was having fun on the live stream, talking to all kinds of people. Craig, Anthony was on there. We had all kinds of people joining in. You, myself, Jen. So we were bouncing around pretty good, and then trying to keep up with the start of college football last night. Matter of fact, I just flipped back over for East Carolina App State. It's just kicking off again, so I can kind of rewatch this and get my scouting report in on East Carolina. But I think that was the thing. Ohio State. I can't say that I don't know. I didn't know how exactly to feel about that game going in. I feel like Ohio State with a first-time quarterback, I think the stat was that much like South Carolina, it was the first time they'd had a quarterback on the roster that had not thrown a pass in something like 68 years or 69 years, something ridiculous like that. I mean, that's kind of like South Carolina's, right? South Carolina doesn't have a quarterback on the roster that's thrown a pass for South Carolina. Ohio State didn't have a quarterback on the roster who had thrown a college pass. All of them are freshmen. So I wasn't sure how to feel about that. But, yeah, the rally last night to come back and win that game, very good for them. Let's see, Tennessee. I don't know what we take away from that, right? Bowling Green is supposed to be one of the worst teams in the FBS this year. 38-6. They scored quick and early. Jalen Hyatt last night, 4 catches, 62 yards, the former Dutch Fork standout. So I think that's kind of where I stand this morning. Did not catch, a matter of fact, just now waking up and seeing the Central Florida Boise State game. When did that get started? Can I get a breakdown on that?
I think it got started. I saw 10:30-ish, maybe somewhere in there. It was relatively late when it finally got going back again or underway for good because of a weather delay. Patrick, you catch any of that late last night?
Not the Boise State game. No, I thought I saw that it was kicking off at 7:30, but then I realized that was 7:30 local time. So, yeah, not any of that. I watched a good bit of Ohio State. What you said about the quarterbacks build. Did you see C.J. Stroud's first and second half splits? I mean, he clearly got comfortable. The first half, he was 8 of 14, 58 yards and a pick. In the second half, he was 5 of 8, 236 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, once he got comfortable, they're probably the 2 best wide receivers in the country, probably number 1 and number 2 in Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. They're just stacked like always. So that was interesting. Totally forgot that Chase Bryce was going to be the quarterback of Appalachian State this year. That totally escaped my mind. I saw Bryce, and I was like, it can't be. He can't still be in college. So this is school number 3 for him, right?
Right. Yeah, he was at Duke last year.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And basically if App State can hold East Carolina to under 100 yards on the ground and have 200-yard rushers, South Carolina should not be in a ball game with them next weekend. That's where I'm at. East Carolina stinks. South Carolina's going to blow them out. I'm on to Georgia. First game hasn't even hit yet, and I'm on to Georgia.
Yeah, you are.
Just like that. There's Patrick coming in hot as always this morning. He's not the only one. 803-404-6100 if you would like to join. Anthony, Chris, David up with us on the live video stream, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter as well. The station handle is at 1075 The Game. Richard's flaming hot take this morning. Definitely won't have to worry about Tennessee this year running that 5th grade RPO offense. Milton looks exactly like he did at Michigan, throwing scripted throws on hitches and bubble screens. App State is good with Chase Bryce from Clemson at quarterback. Scott weighing in. Bryce, former Clemson backup to Trevor Lawrence, was QB for App State. Yes, we really like that. They even showed a little bit of that Syracuse game where he came in a couple of years ago and saved the season at that point. Newberry Chris, it actually feels like football outside this morning. How about that? We usually don't get this, Bill. We usually don't get this till October if we're lucky in Columbia. Where it feels like football, all the sliding door is open.
It does feel very good out there. It does feel like October, late October.
Bill's just checked.
Yeah.
Apparently, Jason is on the same page as Zeb Nolan there. Dove season starts tomorrow as well, he says on the Facebook live stream. The forecast is feathery with a chance of lead in the spread. How about that? Heard that one before. Man, I really enjoyed watching that Minnesota-Ohio State game. Man, just to have football back, we talked about on that live stream a little bit last night, with everybody in the stands, with full it felt like football, and it was good to have it back in its entirety. I mean, I know it wasn't a massive slate of games last night, but there were plenty enough to keep your attention or to point you one direction or another. Big wins, a big comeback for Central Florida and Gus Malzahn to start his time there. They were down 21 points to Boise State at one point. NC State looked really impressive, and Jeff Scott in South Florida kind of the other way, the former Clemson offensive coordinator or co-offensive coordinator and Blythewood High School head coach. He's still got a lot of work to do with that South Florida program. Coastal Carolina, another headliner for me. Absolutely no problem with the Citadel. It's not like the Citadel went into this game with a lot of expectations, but just the pure domination for Coastal Carolina. It seems like Jamie Chadwell and company have picked up exactly where they left off. And then, man, just to get a bit of an upset alert and have Ohio State in doubt with Minnesota reminded me of the brilliance of college football. And Patrick, you're right, man. The receivers there for Ohio State just so good. Several times, could have sworn they're out of bounds. They just stay in bounds, turn it up the field for massive touchdowns, and just kind of put the heart out of Minnesota. And then when their running back went down, it sure looked like that was an Achilles injury to me. I don't know.
That's what all the Twitter doctors said. They said they're almost certain that it's a ruptured Achilles. Yeah, and he was so good. He's one of the best running backs in college football, and that is brutal. It
looked exactly like the Mike Soroka injury, unfortunately, that the Braves ace had a couple of years ago or last season towards the beginning and hasn't even come back from yet. And, poor kid, man. He was really, really good, Ibrahim, against Ohio State, and then that just completely changed things last night. The tone of the night for Minnesota, I think, and any kind of upset alert. Shane Beamer on Carolina Calls last night as well with a final word before the Gamecocks get going against Eastern Illinois tomorrow, and we'll continue to play some of what he had to say last night as we roll on this morning. We're going to do some picks, talk some high school football, get into a new segment as well. Talk to our Darlington Raceway president, our buddy Gary Tharp. We got a lot going on this morning, but what else would you expect on a Friday before Labor Day, before the college football season kicks off? Bill, you going to be able to handle all of this morning, or?
I don't know, man. I feel pretty like you're right. I just opened the doors and it feels fantastic out there, and kind of all geared up. Got some coffee going, ready for tonight. More football.
All right.
Ready to go.
I shouldn't have asked. Chris says it says 62 degrees temperature in my truck. Jason asks, how about that running back for NC State? He looks good. NC State did whatever they wanted to last night. I guess he's talking about Zonovan Knight with 16 carries, 163 yards. They also had another running back go for over 100 yards. And Patrick, that kind of goes back to your point with the Appalachian State East Carolina game. App State being able to run like they did. What you saw there was just a difference in physicality, or just a good Appalachian State football team? That's my question as it pertains to the Gamecocks in week 2.
I think App State actually is going to be pretty darn good, right, this year. But, I mean, East Carolina was very bad in the two areas that South Carolina is going to excel the most, stopping the run with that defensive line. I guess you could say that South Carolina's defensive line would be more of a pin their ears back in pass rushing is probably more where they'd excel than stuffing the run. But either way, that's South Carolina's strength, and then running the football. If App State is going to have 200-yard rushers in South Carolina, we expect to have two of the best running backs in the country, if not 3 or 4 guys that they can throw at you all game long. It shouldn't matter how good App State is, even though I will give App State more credit than I will criticize East Carolina, I guess. South Carolina should be able to feast either way. It shouldn't matter.
Well,
not that
we'll learn a ton tomorrow night. I think that I think it'll be fun to go to the game and watch and to see certain things. Zeb Nolan, obviously, but I don't know what we necessarily learn tomorrow night that we take away and move toward East Carolina. East Carolina played a much tougher opponent last night than South Carolina will play tomorrow night. How much progress can East Carolina make from game 1 to game 2? That game again will be in Greenville. They're going to be super fired up, and their backs should be against the wall. South Carolina should be 1-0. East Carolina should not want to start 0-2. So I'm with you, Patrick. Look, South Carolina will be the more talented team next week, as we'll really turn our attention to that on Monday and Tuesday morning. But let's just get through tomorrow and see what everybody's. I think part of the storyline next week is Luke Doty back and healthy, and so that'll be a lot of fun.
So it looks like you were 1 for 3 last night. I'm seeing. I think with where you're going, you thought ECU would cover a 9-point spread or a 10-point spread or so.
Yeah, I did.
And they scored 10 of their 19 points. By the way, the final score 33-19. Appalachian State. East Carolina scored 10 of those points in the fourth quarter, so it wasn't even as close as the first score would indicate for most of the ball game. And then you had North Carolina State minus 20. That was no problem for you against South Florida. But it was that Central Florida comeback, and they struggled just to win the football game, down 21 points. You had the -6 last night, so not the night you were looking for. I'm guessing all.
No, not a good. That's all right. I'm back. I think it was a couple dollars lost last night. Not a bad night overall. We'll look to bounce back maybe tonight. I need to look. You got two pretty fun matchups tonight. North Carolina and Virginia Tech. North Carolina, Virginia Tech trying to make the ACC look like a decent football conference or one that understands anything about football. And then the game that I'm actually kind of interested in, the 9:00 game, Michigan State and Northwestern. We'll see Hunter Johnson get the start for Northwestern, but then you'll get maybe Ryan Helinski will come in. I'll have to look and see if there's some updated spreads on that. I think it was North Carolina was about a 5.5-point favorite tonight, and Michigan State was I believe a 3-point favorite, or maybe it was Northwestern was a 3-point favorite over Michigan State. We'll get an update on that.
That number's moved quite a bit. Yeah, I'm looking at about 3, but it opened at 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the backup quarterback and Ryan Helinski up at Northwestern, when do you guys think Jason Brown gets in, assuming he does get in for South Carolina tomorrow night? To me, that this is an indication of exactly how this game's going. You see Jason Brown play in the first quarter, things are going to plan and then some for Gamecock football. You don't see him until the second half. I think that is a sign of a pretty large struggle going on for the Gamecock offense. What do you think, Bill?
I don't know. I feel like that how do I put this? Like, do you feel that Shane Beamer and Marcus Satterfield owe it to Jason Brown to get him a series early? Like, owe it to him?
No.
After the press conference yesterday, or Jason Brown was Tuesday, right? My day's right. Granted, I woke up this morning thinking it was Saturday morning. Do they owe it to Jason Brown? Is Jason Brown owed anything in this game?
No, it's SEC football. No one's owed anything. If it was high school, sure. But the fact that he handled not winning the starting job well doesn't mean that he's owed early playing time.
He said,
and let's not act like he's put in a bunch of years in the program.
All right, well, let me also ask you this. Jason Brown says he was told he would get in there early.
Yep.
Now, what is the definition? I see everybody. We're all trying to first half.
I would consider that early. I would think that the ideal scenario would be almost give 4 quarterbacks a quarter each. None of them are going to be your guy. If Zeb Nolan can get in there and score on 2 or 3 drives in the first quarter, go ahead and throw Jason Brown in there to finish out the first half. Give the freshman the third quarter after watching for a whole half, and you can talk to him in the locker room and say, Colton, here, you're going out there. Here's what you're going to do in the third quarter, and then just give the walk on the fourth quarter in garbage time.
I think
that would be perfect.
I think there's a part of me, I've always been kind of superstitious about this. Like Jason Brown's first series, I would give Zeb Nolan at least the first 3 series. First 3, maybe first 4, but at least first 3. And if he's scoring touchdowns on each drive, you don't pull him out until there's a punt. Now, if it gets, if he goes 6 straight series, 5 straight series, then you pull him out. But does that make sense what I'm saying? Like if Zeb Nolan comes out, I'd say he gets the first 3 series. If he scores touchdowns on all 3, he goes back out there for 4. If not, I could see the 4th series, whenever that is, Jason Brown gets a series to go out there and just show what he can do.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating because of what he told us, how it was handled with him Monday when he was called in, and Shane Beamer broke the news to Jason Brown that he wouldn't be the starting quarterback. Again, last night kind of repeated that there wasn't a big gap between he and Zeb Nolan, so that makes me think that he will get in relatively early, but this is where we start to see it for ourselves, right? And we start to figure out, all right, how much validity we can put into certain comments. And then Marcus Satterfield came back a little later this week that Jason Brown still has to compete and still has to earn that playing time, even though he was told that he will get some on Saturday, and will have to continue to compete all season long to earn his way on the field. And so, Bill, the only thing I feel like the coaching staff owes anyone is that they owe the team the responsibility of getting the best quarterback on the field, and then to win the football game. Then that's when you talk about the ideal scenario, Patrick, of getting other guys playing time, experience, the whole thing. And certainly Gamecock fans, I think, are expecting that to be part of the equation. We'll have to wait and see exactly when that happens and how this coaching staff handles it. If they'll handle it more similarly that Steve Spurrier used to do, and try to get as many guys in there as possible and continue to run your offense, and it's the other team's responsibility to stop them, or they'll maybe do it a little bit more conservatively, like we've seen maybe more in years past. And then does this turn out to be more like a Charleston Southern game we saw a couple of years ago, where Carolina absolutely had its way, or will there'll be a few more struggles playing clean football? I think maybe the largest refrain we heard all season long. Bill, you okay over there?
The problem with having the doors open, the cat wandered in unannounced and just terrified me. Thank goodness Jen didn't have to hit the dump button.
Does he typically announce himself?
Did you hear
like a
horn? Like he got right to my foot. He got like normally he would be at the door, but it's like he just came wandering. I just heard a noise. The cat's in the house.
Could have been a snake.
Okay, well that's again. So yeah, now it's wandered off. It basically went strolling by and said good morning and just wandered into the house somewhere.
I love the text line. Richard says Jason Brown will get in on the 3rd series. Pretty definitive. And Clemson Allen says Gamecocks worried about week 2 versus East Carolina is such a joke. I don't know, Allen, if you've been paying attention to the last couple of seasons, but taking wins for granted, not exactly where the program is at this point, going on the road in week number 2 of a new coaching regime. Team like losses combined in the last 2 years. Don't see that as a joke at all. But I hope that makes you feel better this morning. 803-404-6100, the number. If you would like to weigh in, you can call or text. We see you on the Love Chevy phone lines. Get those cranked up when we come back from our first break of the morning, Friday before college football season kicks off for both the Gamecocks, Clemson, basically everyone across the board in big boy college football after a bit of an appetizer last night. It's the early game. It's 107.5 the game.
All right. 6 games to choose from. We got to cut one.
Yeah, you just came wandering in.
Okay.
Obviously USC, obviously Clemson.
From the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center, Shepherd's Glass.
Can Bill hear? Bill, can you hear? We want Bama, Miami.
Yep, Bama, Miami. Mm-hmm.
Do we want LSU, UCLA? I assume.
Yep.
And then our last choice is we can go Big Ten. There's a ranked matchup with Wisconsin and Penn State, or a ranked matchup with the Raging Cajuns and Texas.
Texas and Louisiana is out.
All right, Big Ten it is. Vegas Insider has that messed up. It says Texas Arlington
Wow.
versus Louisiana Lafayette. That's why I couldn't find it.
Oh, brutal on the text line. What a catastrophe from Scott.
That was about, that about went sideways on all of us quickly.
So the 6 o'clock game is just to get a 9 o'clock game in on ESPN as well? Is that the deal with North Carolina and Virginia Tech?
6 o'clock. There's actually, there's a couple games. Duke and Charlotte play tonight, too.
Right, but what a weird start time. An ACC game on a Friday night, 6 o'clock.
I think the last text is supposed to be an insult, but I don't think he gets the joke. Or Ray says I'm a cat person. That guy. I was listening yesterday to what I was listening to. Dan Patrick, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
And it was talking about the Bryson DeChambeau, not the PGA Tour yelling Brooksy at him and you get kicked off, and they had a PGA Tour guy on, and he's like, man, that's not the worst thing to get said to him. He's like, it's kind of funny that's what'll get you kicked out, but you can say much worse stuff to those guys on a daily basis, and you're not going to be kicked out. But if you call them Brooksy, they're going to kick you out. And the guy was just going on about how social media and anonymity, being able to be anonymous, just has changed our society and culture so much.
You got that, Tim? The act of being anonymous?
Yes, anonymity.
Anonymity?
I couldn't get it out, whatever. Anonymity.
There you go.
Attaboy.
That's good.
I didn't pick on you. Just
I went to say it, and then I realized I was going the right. It was kind of like as I started the A part, I was too far into it to switch to anonymous. The sentence wasn't anonymous.
It is.
By the way, I didn't realize this App State East Carolina game was in Charlotte last night. I thought it was in Boone.
I thought it was in Boone too. Did it get moved? It didn't get moved, did it?
No,
Oh,
it's
isn't
Make
Charlotte?
America. Duke, Charlotte's Make America tonight as well.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The old Duke's Mayo
Classic.
triple header.
Is it artificial turf on that field? It is now, right?
Yeah.
Players
Yeah,
were
they
upset about
switched
that because of the
artificial.
soccer team.
Yeah.
Mildly stupid question, but how do you repaint that thing? How do you take is there something you do that you take the paint off, or
They just rip it up.
the turf?
Yeah. Right? Pretty sure they just rip it up and put new turf down.
Don't know.
I don't know. That seems.
Yeah, I would assume they paint it.
But I don't think they would just rip it up.
It's not that hard.
But then you got to put, when you say, I mean, that like, you tell me
Then you gotta drive over it with something on it, right?
That just seems expensive that you're going to rip it up because this field, they'll have to rip this up. Well, they're also going to have a soccer. That's part of the reason they went to turf.
Right.
Yeah. So won't they just
roll out the soccer field? That's what you're saying, Patrick?
Yeah. Because the grass fades, the paint and grass fades, and then you cut the grass and the paint's gone. You can't just wash off paint from turf. Maybe
Heading back in.
So we got George as well.
No, I just sent you a message. He hung up, but we do have, who.
We got Larry. Is that it?
Yeah. Yep. Then 640 res. Goes up.
Final season prediction. What we will do for Gamecock football. This final regular season record we will give our prediction. Right, we can write it down, put it in a notebook, if you will. So we'll have it for the rest of the year. We've already done all 14 SEC teams over and under for season win totals.
Did you guys give your playoff?
We have not gone college football playoff. You have, right?
Yes.
And I thought, were you a little concerned last night when Minnesota was up in the second half on Ohio State? Ohio State.
Yeah, I was.
I was pulling hard for the Fighting PJ Flex there and thought they had a good chance, and maybe the college football season would start with a bit of a shocking upset, and then Ohio State kind of hit the after.
I don't really like any of the teams in my playoff, so it's kind of an emotional hedge. If one of them gets bounced, I'll be happy. I definitely don't like Ohio State. I definitely don't like Clemson. I definitely don't like Georgia. So if any of them don't make it, I'll be happy. But if they do, I'll be right. So I win no matter what.
And your fourth one in there, I just
Oklahoma.
heard.
Oklahoma is loaded, but I don't really have any thoughts on them either way. They're just kind of there.
Real quick, what do you guys make yesterday, the Dennis Dodd article of basically right now playoff expansion appears to be, I know Gordon Gee, the West Virginia president, came out a few weeks ago and said it's on life support. And yesterday, the Dennis Dodd article basically saying that it doesn't look like expansion will be happening or being approved here in the next month. It looks like it could stay with the 14 playoff for the next 3 to 4 years. What do you guys kind of make of that? Because I go back and forth on this. I'm not sure I'm particularly thrilled with that happening. I was kind of looking forward to expansion.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. And yesterday it was reported that the Big 12 continues to consider expanding, and the 4 leading candidates are BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, and Houston. I think that'll play a large part into all of this. And I don't know, man. I didn't see this coming. What I think we all presumed would happen with the college football playoff expansion to 12 teams, and then Texas and Oklahoma really kind of throwing a big wrinkle in that and saying, hey, wait a second, was it Greg Sankey on the committee there? And then the Notre Dame AD was on the committee and figured it out, and you only have 4 teams that have to be conference winners to get a bye. And I think it's just a really odd place for college football to be when you're talking about the playoff and then possible expansion with the Big 12, possible survival with where they're at, or we might see it just disappear altogether. I think there's so many question marks, Patrick. What about you?
Well, is there what is the deadline that this would have to be decided by? Because it wouldn't go into effect until several years. But I mean, when is there a drop dead date where it's like we need to decide what we're going to do going forward by this date? Because deadlines create a sense of urgency, and right now it's just kind of all talk, right? So, do you know?
I feel like there is a vote scheduled to take place on September 27th.
But the current format expires when?
2025. But here's what they're talking about. ESPN has exclusive viewing rights, television rights. I'll get it out, I promise. For right now, what some of the discussion is, if they were to expand it, being able to offer other rounds to other television entities. and that's kind of what they're discussing right now is whether or not that's one of the little things in play there is whether or not I guess in the contract ESPN would have instant access to those games or to other playoff games, or whether the College Football Playoff Committee could offer those out to, say, a CBS, an NBC, or a Fox to have it. But I'm looking, there was, I believe, expected to be a vote, and I'm trying to see, but I want to say yesterday I read this article. It was thought there would be a vote on September 27th regarding this, but now it doesn't look like the vote may happen.
Yeah, it's a mess. What about the possibilities of those schools, BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, and Houston, joining the Big 12? To me, it does nothing for the Big 12, or it just kind of relegates them to the second level for sure, puts a stamp on it, in my opinion. I don't know what else they can do other than just kind of, I guess, disappear and try to farm their teams off to other big-time conferences, the other Big Four. Patrick, you in on BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, and Houston keeping the Big 12 alive?
Houston's the only one that seems to fit naturally. I feel like Cincinnati will be using the Big 12, basically. Like, I think they don't fit in at all. I guess neither does West Virginia, but West Virginia is happy to be there. But, I mean, if Cincinnati, I feel like they think we'll come in year one, we can win the Big 12, and then we can set ourselves up to consistently win the Big 12, and then we'll just join the Big Ten because that's what we've always wanted. They want to be 1B to Ohio State's 1A in the state of Ohio, and they don't care about the Big 12. It doesn't fit them at all. People aren't driving from Cincinnati to Waco, Texas to go to a game. Like, it doesn't fit. So I can't imagine that would be their long-term plan, is being content with the Big 12. So if you're bringing in schools that just want to use you to begin with, or just happy to be there, you're not really bolstering your conference. I mean, BYU is a good team. I don't know that it would help them or really bring the Big 12 up another notch, neither would Houston, but I guess with slightly more resources, who knows what any of those programs could be. Like with the weight of a power conference behind them, Cincinnati could probably be big time. Houston could probably take another jump. I guess there's no reason why Houston couldn't, in a couple years, be the best of all of those Texas teams that are in the Big 12. Like, there's no reason Houston with a bunch of money, big city, can't be better than Texas Tech or Baylor.
Here's the thing. Two things about this. One, that conference, is it any better than the current AAC? Is it substantially better? So who's to say they get included? And two, and this is where when you say more resources, the television contracts that could come down the pipe, who's paying to watch BYU, Kansas, or Central Florida, Kansas State, or, Cincinnati goes and plays Texas Tech? I mean, are you going out of your way to watch that? Is anybody going out of there's nothing there with television dollars that is attractive. To go back to the Dennis Dodd article real quick, to read to you what he said yesterday in his article, I'll read 3 paragraphs real quick and a quote from Bill Hancock. I'm not doing well this morning. Any change to the playoff field requires a unanimous vote for the CFP Board of Managers. That group is scheduled to meet with the CFP Management Committee to review a feasibility study of the 12-team field in late September. This is Dennis Dodd saying it was once assumed that meeting would result in a rubber stamp approval of the expanded 12-team playoff field. Now such action appears extremely unlikely. The quote from Bill Hancock, the executive director of the College Football Playoff: the board will meet on the 28th. It will be up to them to decide what action to take, if any. So it kind of gives you an idea. It sounds like a lot of backtracking potentially taking place there with an expanded playoff.
803-404-6100, the number into the program. Wanted to get to our buddy, favorite 87-year-old caller, Gamecock Larry, weighing in this morning on the Love Chevy phone lines. Larry, are you ready? You said you would have your notebook out and be ready to go the day before game day, Gamecock football.
Yes, sir. One day before about 35, 40, 30-something hours. But, yes, sir, you want to know the end of the season prediction for the Gamecocks? Guaranteed 7-5. But I got a dash mark instead of 8. 8-4. So I'm going to say 7-5. But then I'm going to say there's a possibility of 8-4. Now, the Georgia and Clemson game, I think Georgia got a little bit better offense than Clemson's got. That Clemson's supposed to have 2 or 3 deep, and the defensive line, they came, name us the 4 or 5 starters, because they don't know who's the best. So I'm gonna have to make a prediction. I didn't think I would ever do this. Because I don't like neither one. I don't like Smart. I don't like Dabo. I just don't like Clemson or Georgia, period. But I'm gonna have to say Clemson 24, Bulldogs 31. 31-24. Bulldogs will beat Clemson tomorrow night. Carolina and Eastern Illinois. We don't know what Carolina's got. You all talking about this, when Brown gonna get in there and all that. We don't know when he's gonna get in there. We might score 4 touchdowns in the first 4 drives, and he might be in there on the 3rd one. So we don't know when he's gonna get in there. But I'm gonna say he's gonna get in there before the end of the first quarter. Carolina gonna win at least 38-10. And I don't think you guys want me on live screen because you won't tell me how to get on it. I went and put my money in all this stuff, a brand new tablet, a brand new smartphone, and that thing is more than I am. I don't know how to work it, but that's about all I got to say, but I'm going to enjoy the weekend. Oh, yeah, I got a message for Wes Mitchell, Gamecock Central. 2 weeks ago out there at Steelhand, you took my telephone number down that you was going to call me and tell me how I could get a subscription to the Gamecock Central. Well, I'm here, been here 2 weeks now. Old man waiting on a telephone call.
Come on.
I ain't heard no call yet, Wes.
Come on.
Remember, it's bad to disrespect your elders, buddy.
I think he knows. I think we all know what happens when you get hold of someone's phone number. 9 to 12 is filled the bank. Clemson Sean. I don't know if anybody wants you having their phone number, Gamecock Larry.
He wouldn't give me his number. He took mine.
That's a wise guy. He's calling you from a payphone.
No. Have a good weekend and go Gamecocks.
At Wes Mitchell GC. Everyone tweet at Wes Mitchell GC. #, give Larry his subscription. Flood him. Flood his inbox right now.
Stats of why Wes is trying to find somebody who doesn't like to borrow their phone to call Gamecock Larry, so the Gamecock Larry will.
If Gamecock Larry doesn't have a subscription by Monday, I'm doxing Wes Mitchell and tweeting his phone number, and everyone's going to call him.
I would not leave your phone unattended at a tailgate tomorrow if Wes Mitchell is around. Why burner phones were invented right there. One call to Gamecock Larry. Done. He was on fire. Once he gets your cell phone, you're done.
I think what we just heard from Gamecock Larry, a great example of how we sit today. That's Gamecock Larry talking about the start of football season. Normal. Back to normal right there is what I heard. An excited Gamecock Larry. Actually, maybe a little abnormal. Those predictions were pretty rational. I thought we were going to hear 12-0. I thought that was going to be Gamecock Larry's prediction. And then at least 8-4, but he went 7-5 for the Gamecocks this year. I think about as reasonable as you'll ever hear Gamecock Larry. The 31-24 Georgia prediction over Clemson, I think a really legit score. Is that over or under? Is that right around 52? Is that right? Is that where that game's at, or am I making that one up? I know it's been 52 in some other games. I'm thinking I might be kind of transposing that one, but 55 total points there, Bill. I know you said you think it might be a low-scoring game. And then
I think it's 50. It's 51, 50 and a half, depending on where you look at. William Hill's got it
at 51. MGM's got it at 50.5.
So his 31-24 final score there, not too far off from that over-under that that Vegas put on it. The 38-10 final score for the Gamecocks, not covering a 40-point spread. I think a reasonable expectation from Gamecock Larry this morning. Great to hear him. Great for everybody.
So he officially
but
hates
Mitchell.
Clemson more than Georgia, right? Because he picked Georgia to
Yes.
win.
Away from it. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's a closet Georgia fan.
Well, he had come out a couple of weeks ago and said he's going to have to pull for Clemson in this thing, and I think he came around on that one. He wasn't going to win. I think that's how a lot of Gamecock fans feel about tomorrow night's game of the night, game of the weekend for sure, and the big matchup with Clemson, Georgia. We'll continue to talk about that. Let you hear from Shane Beamer, who actually was on with Frank Beamer last night on Carolina Calls with Todd Ellis, and those guys reminisced a little bit, and they've crossed paths before. Let you hear some of how that sounded when we come back as we roll on this morning, the day before game day. It's the early game. It's 107.5 the game.
This is Gamecock basketball head coach Frank Martin, and you're listening to 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Listen to Gamecock Larry there right before the season kicks off. It reminds me that I always kind of turn the page in my head once football season hits there. The weather might be doing that for you as well. And one way you can do that and move forward and feel good about it is get things in order around the house. If you need some professional help to do that, I recommend you get Zero Res carpet and air duct cleaning out to your house. They've been out to my house a couple of times, done a great job cleaning my carpets, cleaning my tiles in both the kitchen and bathroom. And man, when Zero Res leaves my house, our house just has that fresh feel that you just can't get any other way. We can't get any other way for sure. Zero Res not only gives us great professional carpet cleaning results, but they also do it differently than anybody else. They right now have a patented ZR water where they crank the pH up in the water, no harsh chemicals involved in that process. That's especially important to us with 3 kids always rolling around on the carpets these days. Also, no leftover soapy residue in our carpets to attract dirt back in there. Our carpets have stayed cleaner longer. Yours can as well. ZeroResColumbia.com is where you can go to book your appointment right now. You can give Zero Res a call at 803-262-4020. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, only $119 plus a free hallway when you mention me, Tim Hill. That's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
From the show.
A lot of bad moods in the text line this morning.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm sure a lot of people took today off, though, get ready for football season, make it a 4-day weekend.
It's a night game, though. I would never burn a day off for a home game weekend.
You what?
I'd save those for road trips.
I love how Gamecock Larry cracked himself up at least once during his own call, maybe twice. And then when he got you to yell at him a little bit, Bill, he had achieved his goal.
Yeah, I zoned back in when he was talking about Wes Mitchell.
So, Patrick, can you give us the lines there?
Yeah. So we'll start with Wisconsin. That's a -5.5.
Got it.
Penn State. Bama -19.5
Thermostat up.
over Miami.
It's like 75, 76.
LSU -2.5.
LSU's now -2.5?
Yeah.
Wow.
Quite a bit. Quite a bit. Clemson -3.5 because we're rounding up, right?
Yep.
And then, I guess we'll do 42.5 for USC. You like that, Bill? Is that right?
No, let's get. I think it got down to 40. Let's do that.
40.5.
Yep, 40.5 would be.
That works. It's not posted hardly anywhere.
$52 up in Virginia, huh, Steven? Nice. Absolutely, Josh. It was fun doing the live stream. You guys, if you missed it, you can always go back and watch it, but fun taking stuff in and then seeing what everybody's watching. I was able to keep informed on more games than usual because you guys were keeping us updated. Not everybody was watching the same thing. And by the way, Anthony he dominates this program. 5:55 this morning. First one commenting on the live chat. He was the rock last night, had the moment of the night.
Yep, he's pretty solid.
Incredible. He was the first one in on the live stream last night. Brought the tequila with the worm. I mean, what else could we ask for? We have a Buster Anderson jersey from the 49ers. It's pretty impressive.
Heading back in.
Jen, can we do one of these cuts here? Thinking number 12.
Oh, crap. Where's he got it? Well, maybe.
Right.
Is that the kicking game?
No, I have a different number 12 here for Frank Beamer. Openers. Anything with Frank Beamer? Love to hear that. Sounds like a no.
It had just rebooted. I'm sorry. I'll make sure I got him up.
Okay.
Guys are up.
Season win total. Gamecock Larry goes 7-5. Variance is the question. Patrick, I know you said you think LSU might be the largest variance out there as we sit here before they've kicked off their season, and they're going to do it as a 2.5-point favorite against UCLA, a UCLA team that looked really good against Hawaii in week number 1, and Chip Kelly kind of back against the wall. And I'd say both of those coaches go in with plenty of question marks about the future of their tenures, Ed Orgeron and Chip Kelly, and Orgeron switching out coordinators and kind of going back to, I think, maybe more of the recipe that got the national championship done with a guy who was kind of connected to Joe Brady running the offense now. And it's going to be fascinating, as always, around LSU football, especially after last year, a bit of a disaster. But I bring them up just to compare them to South Carolina because I don't think people see a ton of variance for the Gamecocks going into this season. I'd say somewhere, I guess, 3 might be the low end. I guess you have to consider that with the Vegas over-under at 3.5. I think around here, I'd say it's between 5 and 7. Wouldn't you say? I guess maybe 4 and 7 for a lot of realistic Gamecock fans. That sound about right to you, Bill?
Yeah, 4 to 7, I think is very realistic, depending on which direction you want to go and what you believe in, and also how good you think Kentucky, Tennessee, and Missouri are. Those are the big swing games, 2 of which are on the road. And I guess if you watched Tennessee last night, you might feel a little. I think we had a texter to start the show who said Tennessee looked awful, and then I've seen some people say, man, Tennessee didn't look bad last night.
Well, they dominated Bowling Green, but a lot like the Gamecocks going up against Eastern Illinois, what does it mean? Even after game number 1, what are you going to learn Patrick, you with me on the variance between 4 and 7 wins somewhere in there if you're doing a season prediction for the Gamecocks?
4 and 7 feels good. I was going to say if it was a game either way, I'd say probably a game of within 5. So 4 wouldn't be shocking and 6 wouldn't be shocking. 7's a very high end of what I think this team could be this year, though.
Gamecock Larry.
Yeah, not going to be happy.
Hour 2 coming up. And boy, Justin, good start to your day. Also, you're calling out Wes Mitchell on Twitter. Excellent.
Excellent work. Yes.
I
He's
wrote
going
down
6 and 6 for Justin.
I wrote down how it'll go down as well.
Like it. So we'll start with that here coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. Cool.
That'll work.
Oh, man, let me get that sun. Beautiful. Josh also going 6 wins. Interesting. So, Josh, while you're with us here, which 6? I guess. Let me see if I can do it with you. First 2, Eastern Illinois, East Carolina. Indy. You got Kentucky, Tennessee, and Missouri. You're going to win all 3 of those? That's got to be the 6, right?
When we do this, are you going to tell us who the wins are?
I will tell you where I differ with you. We'll let you go first. If I differ with you, I'll tell you where. Chad, I think the only factor right now is Josh Heupel's track record on offense, being able to score some points. And Joe Milton transferred from Michigan. Hooker transfers from Virginia Tech. South Carolina's got transfers from St. Francis and North Dakota State right now. And then Luke Doty hasn't proven anything.
That is the most dramatic post for Bill right there. Facing away from the screen.
I'm listening to y'all. I can hear you. I'm right here.
Good.
Yeah, I'm still searching. I'm trying to find this audio.
What, 7 would be a win against Auburn too, I guess? Is that what you're thinking there?
7 wins. This place would be on fire in December.
No doubt, man.
The schedule actually, because they get Arkansas next year instead of Auburn. I think it's here. No, it's at Arkansas because Texas A&M's here.
A&M is a pretty bold statement there, Josh, especially after last year.
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to Arkansas next year.
Yeah, I feel like I might. That's one of the 2 places I've not been.
For some reason, I really want to go to Fayetteville for a weekend. I think it's just the fact that I'll probably never go again. And then when it's the only school in that state, basically, people
Why
just
do you
go
say
crazy.
you'll never go again?
Well, I mean, I guess if they
Like,
change
you're
the schedule
25,
and stuff.
You can make a trip.
Yeah, but I feel like I'll only want to go once.
Oh, that I agree with.
Yeah. And yeah,
It's
just
kinda
the
like the
idea that
buddies.
it's the only school. I think Arkansans. What are people from Arkansas?
You got me, man.
I think they're
Arkansas
crazy
people.
for the Razorbacks.
Hogs. It's like what you just said a couple weeks ago when we were planning this trip to Vegas. Me and the guys that just turned 40. One of them's like, I was like, well, we don't need to go to Vegas this year. We can go up to Cherokee and hang out at Cherokee. And one of my buddies like, I think this is really our only opportunity, our last opportunity to go to Vegas together, like as a group. I was like, what do you? We're 40. We're not 75. Like, what do you mean this is our last opportunity?
I don't know. I'll probably want to go to like. I think I'll want to go to a different school rather than ever go visit Arkansas twice.
I will tell you this. You don't have kids yet. Try and do a lot of your because now I'm learning this. Try and do a lot of your going to stadiums right now because you're going to lose about a 15, 16 year gap where you're not going to be able to go because like Austin's got soccer on Sundays starting next weekend. So when that starts, you're like, all right, well, if I'm going to go somewhere, I got to get back first thing. I hate missing games. I'm going to miss that one to go to Vegas, and that'll be the second game I've missed of his.
Yeah, I think Columbia, Missouri is going to be the only new one I check off this year.
Like I was able to go to Texas A&M a couple years ago because Austin was that was an off week for him, so it worked. But I think there was one year I went to 10 games, and the only one I didn't go to was the trip to Arkansas.
Yeah, I've only done Little Rock. The just brutal 99 game, I think it was.
2000. That was 2000 when they blocked the field goal at the end.
No.
Game where we got beaten like a drum.
Yeah, that's the one I was at.
That was the one we played like 6 quarterbacks in that game, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think Starkville I have by far the least interest in.
We went to Starkville. We stayed in Columbus, Mississippi. We parked our car at the hotel. First, we got kicked out of our initial hotel by the football team because the Holiday Inn didn't have enough rooms. And when the football team showed up, they took one of our rooms because we were the last people to get there. So we didn't have a room. So they put us at a motel down the road. And by the time we were able to get out, put our bags in the room, and come back to go find a restaurant or bar, somebody had ripped the car flags off.
Yeah, this was the game just a couple years ago, right?
No, I went in 06. That was the game that was Spurrier's second year.
Corey Boyd.
But Blake Mitchell went down at the very beginning, and we thought he had basically they were going to have to amputate his leg.
Right.
Like he was rolling around on the field. We're like, oh no, the season's over. Blake Mitchell's out. He comes back and it was like just a scratch on his leg.
I just know that I had a group of friends go to the game a couple of years ago, and they left in the third quarter to drive back to Columbia. They were like, they had hotels, and they said, no, we're leaving. This place is terrible.
Where'd they go?
Intro's up.
Intro's up. I'm still searching where the hell he saved this stuff.
Okay, don't sweat it, Jen. No big deal. We the bigger deal is we're gonna have Lawyer Lisa on at 7:30.
Okay.
So we really do need to take these breaks right around 10 and 20 to make sure that happens, gentlemen.
Okay.
At 10 and 20, whatever. Yeah.
But nothing else is on the books for this hour, right? It's the third hour that will be a little busier with Chris and Carrie. Picks. All right, Patrick. Season prediction.
Guys are up.
It's easy to lose the forest through the trees, and we will definitely be doing that. Starting on Monday, we will be working on Labor Day, reviewing the big weekend of college football. We've already reviewed some of the last night and the kickoff to college football, where I thought we were going to get an epic upset of Minnesota over Ohio State, and then it was a strip sack. Wasn't even a scoop and score. It was right in a defensive lineman's arms, and it completely turned that game. And then Minnesota still came back and took the lead, I think. And then the Ohio State wide receivers, Patrick, as Patrick pointed out this morning, just so good. And they kind of kick it into overdrive and win relatively comfortably last night. No real close games unless you stayed up for that Central Florida Boise State delayed game where Gus Malzahn gets his tenure going at UCF with a 21-point comeback and a close win against a Boise State brand name, at least. This morning I mentioned the forest through the trees because it's time to give a season prediction. We'll write it down. We'll stick to it. We've already done all the season win total over-unders for the 14 SEC program. All three of us, me, Bill, and Patrick, went over for the Gamecocks at 3.5. So the number is going to be larger than 3. We kind of agreed that the variance is somewhere between 4 and 7 right now. Gamecock Larry going on the high end there. He says 7 and 5, maybe 8 and 4. Had a couple of 6 and 6 predictions out there. Patrick, you're going to go game by game, and we'll do the math at the end. Then Bill and I will hop in and see where we might disagree with you, going through game by game. Obviously, starting with Eastern Illinois and the opener tomorrow night, where the Gamecocks are a huge favorite.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I can do this fairly quickly.
Okay.
Let's start. Obviously, these first 2 weeks, I think both these teams are terrible. Eastern Illinois, East Carolina. Neither game's going to be particularly close. So we're going to start out 2-0.
Remember now, you're supposed to be the many people believe you're the realistic one of the group. We're the homers. You got to, okay. All right, just making sure.
So, so then we're going to go into Athens. There's going to be a lot of confidence, quiet confidence from Gamecock fans, not so quiet confidence from Gamecock Larry. Heading into that game, it's going to be a bloodbath. They're going to lose by probably 30 points, 35 points, something like that. Georgia's my national champion, so that's to be expected. Unfortunately, the bounce back week with Kentucky coming into town, that's going to be a loss. So you're going to head into the month of October 2-2. It's okay, not licking your wounds quite yet, because October is going to start out brilliant. You're going to beat Troy. You're going to head to Knoxville and beat Tennessee, and then Vanderbilt's going to come to town and you're going to beat Vanderbilt. So 3 straight wins to start the month of October, and you are going to be 5-2 by this point. And then that's it. Then you're going to lose out. It's going to be a brutal month of November. Going to be a tough end of October. You're going to lose to A&M. You're going to lose to Florida. Head to Columbia, Missouri. I think Missouri is going to be pretty darn good this year. Going to lose to them. Auburn, revenge game for their whole team and coaching staff. And then Clemson comes to town, and it's not going to be a bounce back game there either. So ultimately, I'm saying 5-7.
Okay.
It's a 5-2, and then it's just very, very tough from that
just
5-2 mark on.
To review, that 5-7 is 3 non-conference wins, the first 2, and then Troy and Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Those are the 5 wins that you have marked down. Bill, where, if at all, do you disagree with Patrick's breakdown there?
Overall, I really, there's so many questions, not just with South Carolina, but how does Will Levis, what is Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator at Kentucky, what does that's a big change what they're doing. We talk about Mark Stoops and a stable program. You know what? They haven't had a passing attack, but quite honestly, it's worked for them. Ground and pound. You think about the running backs have come through there. They've played great defense, but now they're going to change it up a little bit and try and get more of an air raid type offense. Does that really fit what Kentucky is? I feel like Mark Stoops has built a reputation there. Tennessee, Josh Heupel, kind of the same thing. Is that offense going to take flight? He's got quarterbacks there. He does have some receivers. It's other positions that I think you get a little bit concerned about. So that's another one. I'm with you on Missouri. Missouri's one I don't even really start to break down. I going out there, I think it's a loss. I don't really, quite honestly, outside of outside of the game a couple years ago, Muschamp's second year where they went out there and they opened 2-0. I don't feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, I don't feel like South Carolina's ever played well at Missouri. Does that seem right? Does that seem, I mean, now that I kind of do that,
that does seem right. The classic Connor Shaw game back in 2012, I think.
Yeah.
Cold and overtime and the whole thing. That was survival against an inferior team. I feel like Carolina and Missouri.
Yeah, that was not a good game from South Carolina. Connor Shaw came in and there was a miraculous comeback. So I'm with Patrick on that one. The one that I think intrigues me the most is Auburn. What exactly is Auburn on November 20th? Does Mike Bogle have that offense humming? Is Tank Bigsby beaten up by them? Like, is he taking so many carries that he's, I think you could question, will Tank Bigsby be able to play in that game by the time you get there? Because you feel like he's going to be the focal point of the offense. Is there quarterback issues there? How has Bo Nix responded to Mike Bobo, Brian Harsin, and everything? What's going on with Derek Mason and the defense? Has Derek Mason kind of checked out at that point, trying to get himself another head coaching job? That's one thing I wonder about on there. Derek Mason's really into some interviews I saw. Like this is him. Like basically, he views this more as a a quick stop before another head coaching gig. I don't know if that's true, if that's going to be true or not, but some articles I read back last January when he was down there and kind of interviewing was like, yeah, I know what I did wrong. I'm here to work with Brian, and then I'm on to my next gig. I was like, oh,
Bill, this isn't time for wondering. This is time for picking. You got to decide.
Well,
are they beating Auburn? Do you differ there? Are they beating Auburn and going 6-6?
So I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go with you all the way, and then I'm gonna take a chance. I was all to say all that. I'm with you on every game. I'm going to at home late in the season. I'm going to go with South Carolina over Auburn to get to 6-6. It's a homer call. I'm fully aware it's a homer call because I feel like the safe play is Patrick's record, the 5-7 call. I feel like that is the very safe play. I feel like that's probably right. But I'm gonna be the
just
homer.
Looking at how the schedule plays out, they're gonna need that one for any sort of momentum or just like keeping their head above water before. Yeah, that's the second to last game before Clemson comes, and
I think
at that point they would have lost 4 straight.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like,
they're gonna need it for morale.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot there with that Auburn game. That's the one I'm kind of with you on Kentucky. Again, there's so many things about Kentucky I'm interested to see. Tennessee is in the boat. I mean, look, you can make the case this thing's anywhere between 2-10 and 6-6. The 3.5 number, again, there's really as Chad is pointing out on the live stream, it's hard to explain necessarily why Tennessee has an over/under of like 5.5. And South Carolina's 3.5 when you look at the schedule. I guess Tennessee doesn't have a Clemson on there as a non-conference game, but we'll see. So I'll take the homer side of it. I'll go 6-6, and South Carolina gets to some kind of bowl game in Beamer's first year. But again, I think there's so many question marks when you talk about Kentucky, when you talk about Auburn, and Tennessee, and then of course. I really don't have a clue what this offense is going to be like. One note from last night that I thought was interesting, Shane Beamer saying that Luke Doty ran around at practice yesterday, and Beamer not ruling him out, by the way, for Saturday night. I think we're all under the assumption he's not playing, but Shane Beamer did not say Luke Doty is out. So, Patrick, I think the scenario that you laid out where Luke Doty goes out there with pads on and throws some passes in warm-ups, but it does appear that, at least if you take Shane Beamer at his word, that Luke Doty will be back next weekend.
Let's get a different perspective. Rob on the line for the Love Chevy phone lines. Season prediction for the Gamecocks. What are you thinking, Rob? Oh, just missed Rob. So that one's on you.
Oh, you can hold on. Okay, hold on.
All right, we're 6,100. The number. So Bill's going 6-6. I'm agreeing with you, Patrick. By the way, at 5-7. Feel free to give us your season prediction. I saw it exactly how you did, and that's going to be a strange thing, I think, for Gamecock fans if it goes down how we're saying it is because of the back half of the season. And Steve Spurrier always had the line, right? It's all about momentum and what have you done lately. And the bowl game got that much more important towards the end of his career with fan bases because it's how everybody feels in the offseason. That's going to be the interesting part to me as we sit here before the year, at least. That's how I break it down. Interested in hearing your thoughts. Again, 803-404-6100. If you would like to join, you can call or text. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Oh, it's finally here. Tailgating season and a football game after tailgating. But tailgating season is officially here. Hope you're ready for tomorrow. The key part of being able to tailgate is a good tailgating vehicle. Maybe that's a good Chevy Silverado. You can get a lot of stuff in there. You can load up the chairs, the tents, the tables. You can get the television in the back. You got all the necessary items, got plenty of room. Then you can unload it. People can sit on the back of the tailgate. Silverado, probably the tailgating vehicle most used out tomorrow across the country. And you can go purchase one of those right now. Be ready to go. Don't forget the tailgating vehicle. It's just as important as taking the TV to the tailgate at Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Get on out there right now, whether it's the incredible sales staff, the $1,000 low price guarantee, or, of course, the largest selection of vehicles anywhere in the Midlands. Love Chevrolet has got you taken care of. Here's the important part. There has been a worldwide computer chip shortage that has reduced the number of vehicles We know that. That's not just at Love Chevrolet. That's across the board. But the main thing is at Love Chevrolet, they are not tacking on extra add-ons to the price of their new cars to take advantage of their customers during this time of high demand. Love Chevrolet keeping their prices the same, offering the same great quality, the same great sales staff, the same great deals, the $1,000 low price guarantee. They've been doing it for over 60 years. They're the number one volume Chevy dealership here in the state of South Carolina. They'll continue to take care of you and your family. Go visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
All right.
Patrick, you're right. I think everybody, we just got salty people on the people that had to work today on a Friday are just angry on the text line.
Some people are, I don't even get it. The Clemson fans think we're being too. None of us just picked Carolina having a winning season. Clemson fans think we're overhyping them. This guy said Patrick the Pothead really picked Kentucky to beat South Carolina. Or the Kentucky team that's beaten South Carolina 6 of the last 7 years. Yeah. I don't think South Carolina fans will ever get over that.
No, they won't. Yeah, they don't.
That like we're supposed to be Kentucky. I don't know how long it takes something like that to change.
Oh. Yeah, just a bunch of angry people this morning. I'm not sure why. It's a beautiful morning. I've still got the doors open. Lovely.
How long would it take for people to stop looking at Kentucky as South Carolina should write them in as a win on the schedule? Because this would be 7 of 8 this year.
Never is the answer to your question.
Would it have to be like 9 of 10 if they win?
No,
9
I
of
was
10?
I was thinking if Kentucky won 15 straight, that 16 year South Carolina fans would still be going, can't lose to them. I mean, it's just the perception. It's kind of like, that's just perception. And probably rightfully so. South Carolina has more resources.
I mean, South Carolina got throttled by Kentucky last year.
Well, but a lot of
It was
people.
the end of the year, but it was 41-18.
Yeah, I don't even know how they got to 18. It's an odd number. How do you arrive at? I need to go back and look at that.
I don't even know.
Is there a bunch of field goals? Did we miss an extra point and kick 4 field goals?
Let's see. Field goal in the first quarter, touchdown, and then a 2-point conversion in the fourth.
Oh, of course, a 2-point conversion.
Very good point, Stephen. I think that's pretty accurate.
Terry Wilson threw for 200 yards against our defense. Huh.
All right, Perry's back in. Morning, Perry.
He's doing his work. Look at it. He's bringing Patrick some notes for the next segment.
No, I stole his desk.
He just took my office.
That's what a good son does. He comes home and takes over. There's my new tailgating buddy, Twig. Twig and Kip Balknight are coming to tailgate with the Gunner this year. Lots of golf talk. I got to call Steven today. That sun is bright. It is going to be a fun season. Yes, you and I need to conversate today. The dad's going down to Orangeburg.
The question on the live stream last night was, do the grandparents approve of the mustache, Patrick?
Yeah.
They're down?
I haven't gotten many bad comments about it. The mustache is kind of in right now.
Yeah, it
The
is.
mustache is in? That's right. There's a poll question. Is the mustache in?
It's in.
Maybe a poll question in June or July. So.
There's no reason that we can have that poll question today.
The grandparents were less interested in me anyway. My brother had just gotten off a boat from the last 4 months. He's been the star for the last couple days.
Oh, you've been left out.
Sibling rivalry.
Well, now this is the last couple hours I'll ever spend in the childhood house.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Last night was the last night the 5 of us will ever be together in this house. We've had it for 23 years. 24 years?
You guys are up.
One more chance this afternoon for you to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Southern 500 in Darlington on Sunday. The halftime show from 1 to 4 will have your chance to do it. DarlingtonRaceway.com is the place to go if you'd like to buy your race tickets. Camping, premium parking still available. That's DarlingtonRaceway.com, and we'll talk to Darlington Raceway President Kerry Hart coming up this morning at 8:45. Kerry's been a very busy dude, as you might imagine. The Cool Care Heating and Air text line busy as well this morning. 7:14. They will go 4 and 8, and you can put that in the books. The very next text we got, that was an anonymous texter who said that about Gamecock football. The next one was Matthew from Landrum. 7 and 5 wins over Kentucky and Missouri, and if Auburn is beat up towards the end of the season, possibly 8 and 4. This team, I just have a feeling, has something special in them for Beamer's first year. Go Gamecocks. You got a 4 and 8. The next one, 7 and 5, maybe 8 and 4. McGee was in right before the anonymous texter saying, I'll take 6 and 6. I think the 3 non-conference wins, excluding Clemson plus Vandy, Tennessee. I think that pretty much runs the gamut, doesn't it?
We've got everybody's predictions in because we can go back and look at old text messages. So there will be people who can do a lot of gloating in December and point back and say, look to my text messages in August, or there's going to be people who do not want to hear from us in December because we'll be looking back at your text messages and telling you how wrong you are, just like you do to us.
One name, Patrick. One name. What are you most interested in from the Gamecock perspective in game number 1? Who, I should say, as opposed to what? Who? Which one player are you most interested in?
I will say Marshawn Lloyd because he was who we were most interested going into last season, and we were robbed of being able to see him. I don't want to go with the easy, obvious, trendy answer of the coach turned quarterback because he will not be the long-term answer. Marshawn Lloyd will be a long-term crucial part of this team, so it's just been such a long time coming for him. We've seen glimpses on Twitter, on whatever. I need to see him in live action, spinning, jumping over dudes, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I should have said one name, not Zeb Noland or Jason Brown, not at quarterback for the Gamecocks. I think Marshawn Lloyd is probably way up there, as well as who Craig put out there in Jaheim Bell, the tight end who has been talked about, played running back in the spring game. And I know Marcus Satterfield especially, and a staff full of former tight end coaches, including Shane Beamer as the head coach now, really think that he could be a weapon. Juju McDowell is who Twig hits us up with, says can't wait to see him play. Bill, you have one name out there, one player that you're specifically interested in most tomorrow night at 7 o'clock?
Yeah, I'm with Pat. I'm with Patrick on this. Marshawn Lloyd. I mean, I think part of it, again, inferior opponent, but confirming what we think that Lloyd can be that guy to pair with Kevin Harris, and then you've got McDowell and you've got Zaquandre White, Rashad Amos behind him. But just seeing it, because again, it's crazy that everybody's like, oh man, this Marshawn Lloyd, he and Kevin Harris are going to be a duo involved, thunder and lightning and all. We haven't seen Marshawn Lloyd carry a football yet in a college game. Like, I'm assuming he's still really good. So I'm with Patrick on that. I'm going with him.
Also, it's the type of game where, if it's Georgia and he might just be running into a brick wall in every play, against Eastern Illinois, he should be getting to the second level every time he touches the ball. So this should be the type of situation where we can see some flair and some open field moves, and he can really do some special stuff, some highlight reel plays.
To me, we'll stay on the offensive side of the ball. We'll switch to defense in a second. The one name, if I had to pick one guy, I hear what you guys are saying. I think those 3 people we've already talked about are really good ones. Marshawn Lloyd, Jaheim Bell, Juju McDowell at running back. But those are kind of new guys, right? I know Bell played last year, but he didn't really do anything. I'm more interested to see a guy who's been in the program seemingly forever, been talked about, but when it comes to production on the field on Saturdays, it just has not been there.
I know where you're going.
My one name, what are you guessing there?
It's got to be Josh Vann, right?
No.
Oh, because that's what I was thinking too. Hyped up for years.
To carry on Joyner.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's to carry on Joyner, but the way he's been talked about this offseason and by this coaching staff seems to be so much different than what we've heard in the past. Just from I guess maybe a leadership standpoint, the way he came out and admitted he wasn't sure if he was really still liked football when Will Muschamp and company were gone. And now to also know that this is the largest question mark. I mean, even Will Muschamp's first year, at least you had a guy like Brian Edwards come in, crack the starting lineup, who was a highly recruited guy and immediately produced in game number 1 with 100-plus receiving yards. To carry on Joyner, to me, is the guy. If he can produce on the field for the Gamecocks and become a legit threat out wide, it totally changes offensive production expectations from my standpoint compared to what they are as I sit here right now based off of previous production, what we saw last year. So to carry on Joyner is my name. Patrick's going Marshawn Lloyd. Bill, you're in with him there. Juju Mcdowell has popped up. Jaheim Bell's popped up. We'll continue that discussion and switch to the defensive side of the ball at some point here, but we specifically avoided the quarterback conversation because we've talked about that a bunch. But we're going to get into it in an official capacity coming up. The first ever edition of Sport Court coming up. The Zeb Nolan story will be the topic. We will get an official ruling by someone that has some official law standing. That's coming up next here. 803-404-6100 if you would like to join. It's the early game. 7-5 the game. Man, being comfortable this weekend, I know a lot of you are really comfortable with the fact that college football is back. I want you to be as comfortable as possible during college football season and then beyond. I recommend you get out to Daniel's Fine Furniture and Bedding. Out near the airport, when you hop in to Daniel's store, you'll see that this is a different furniture store. You're not just a number going in there. You're not a nameless, faceless customer in a big box store. Daniel and June Clark have been serving the Midlands for 25 years. They know when you go into Daniel's Fine Furniture and Bedding, they want you to be part of the family, part of their entire thought process, to make sure they take care of you, not just for one purchase, but for years to come. And they have all kind of options there. When you look over to your right, when you go in at Daniel's, it's the leather recliners almost as far as the eye can see there. They're set up for you. You go sit in them. You can buy right off the floor. You like what you're sitting in, that one can be yours. And if you live within 20 miles of the store, they'll deliver it for free. Simple, right? They also know that you're probably not just going to need a recliner or motion furniture, like they call it, the love seat or the sofa. You're probably going to need something else as well, and they're going to help you find exactly what you need. If you see it on the floor again, even if it's part of a different setup, hey, you can choose that and make it happen. That's what they'll do for you at Daniel's Fine Furniture, where they pride themselves on the 3 B's: best furniture, best service, and best price. Go see them. The back of the airport there, 3911 Edmond Highway in West Columbia. Remember, when it's time to save, it's time for Daniel's Fine Furniture and Bedding. All right. Good morning, Lisa.
Morning.
You can talk to us right now through your computer if you want to. But then when we're on the air, it'll definitely be best to mute that sucker and just call that studio number.
Sounds like she can't hear.
So the way I'm thinking is that you are the judge.
I don't think she can hear us.
She gave us a wave earlier. Lisa, can you
Yeah, I
hear
think
us?
that was just a wave. I think by now she would have responded.
Oh, impressive. I don't know. Yeah, it's probably best just to have that thing down all the way. So we've got you on. There you go. Now I should be able to hear you, Lisa.
She good now? Can she hear us?
Gotcha. Yeah, you're going to call the phone? Okay. And Jen, you got her on the phone? All right.
Yep,
Cool.
I do.
So you just gonna do program audio for this?
Yep, for sure. That is the plan. So it'll sound good. Lisa, do you have your gavel? Do you have your gavel? No official gavel right now. No robe. Okay. We'll get it going later.
Don't be judged, Lisa.
Yep. Sorry, we can't hear you right now, Lisa. So we're just going through our computers during the break is how we do it, and then when we're on the air, that's when we go through the headset. So Bill, you'll be the defense here.
I'm defending it. I'm defending. So is it? I mean,
You're the defense that Zeb Nolan, good for Gamecock football. Got it?
all right. It's good for South Carolina football.
I'm the prosecutor. Patrick, you're the first witness. And I will cross-examine. Bill, you get to go first. I'll cross-examine.
Good. This is like that law class I took in high school where I won all my cases. I thought I was going to be a great lawyer. It turns out they had GPA requirements for that.
What's your favorite lawyer
Apparently,
movie?
having a 2.1 GPA does not get you into law school.
What's your favorite lawyer movie, Bill?
I have the open also.
Excellent.
You know what? I don't know if it's my favorite lawyer movie because it was a book I read that then I saw. It was like I don't want to say the first book I read because that sounds stupid, but The Firm. Did you ever see The Firm?
Yeah,
I read
Tom
that.
Cruise.
I read that in like 5th or 6th grade. I thought that was just like an awesome book. And then when I saw it, the movie wasn't as good as the book. But I liked it. A Time to Kill was pretty good. That was McConaughey. Was it? Tom Cruise was in The Firm and McConaughey was in Time to Kill.
Yeah,
I like that one
McConaughey
too.
was defending Samuel L. I was gonna say Devil's Advocate.
I was going to say, is Devil's Advocate
Yeah.
very underrated lawyer movie?
Yeah.
Guys got to go old school. 12 Angry Men.
Don't know what
There's
that
a
one is. Well,
So Angry Men is
To Kill a Mockingbird. Great.
I managed to not read that. I held out. I was not going to be.
My cousin Vinny is great input. Yeah.
Great one.
That's a good one.
Rainmaker. Another great Grisham one.
Matt Damon.
I don't think I'm familiar with the Rainmaker.
Oh,
All
Matt
right, get ready to
Damon.
head back in.
Grisham again. All right, Jen,
Legally Blonde.
you've got the music, Jen?
I do.
Let's hear it. I'll call for it. You don't have to
Okay.
go into it real quick.
You guys are up.
Oh, I'm excited for this. Very first edition of Sport Court right now. Let's change the tone of the show a little bit. That's the usual tone of the show that you heard with the music coming back, but now it's time to get serious here, people.
There he is. Nice. That's what this show's known for. Nothing but a serious show right here. That's why people love us. Sport Court welcoming the Honorable Lawyer Lisa to rule in the courtroom. Lisa, are you ready for this lofty responsibility? All right, we got to get you. Got to get. I think she said she was ready. Let's hear that one more time, Lisa. I think we got you now.
I'm ready.
Okay. Yes, we got you now. Lisa is ready to hear the arguments. Today's Sport Court issue, the Zeb Nolan story. This is not Zeb Nolan, the quarterback. This is not the Zeb Nolan, the person who I played golf with at the Birdies for Beamer thing. This is the Zeb Nolan story. Is it good for Gamecock football? Bill is the defense here. I am the prosecutor. Bill, present your opening argument, sir.
Look, I mean, South Carolina, it was 2-8 last year. They were 4-8 the year before. They're 6-16 over 2 years. This is a program right now that nobody is paying attention to. Nobody. Let's be honest. There's zero reason. Now you're playing an opponent, an FCS opponent, who somehow in the last 2 years has won less games than you. 2-16 in the last 2 years. There's zero reason for ESPN, for Game Day, for SportsCenter
to be talking about South Carolina versus Eastern Illinois this week. There's zero reason for me to click on ESPN.com and see an article about the South Carolina Gamecocks this week. I'm of the opinion, and I'm sure my constituents, did I say it correctly? I'm sure everybody involved.
You said it correctly. I'm just not sure it's the right word.
Everybody involved, I'm sure, would agree that South Carolina, we're buying into the idea here that any publicity is good publicity. Look, nobody committed a crime. There's not NCAA investigations. You know what's happening? People are paying attention to South Carolina. Oh, yeah, there might be a few orange-clad people in the upstate laughing a little bit, but you know what? People are paying attention. On the biggest weekend of college football, massive games, Georgia, Clemson, Alabama, Miami, LSU, UCLA, in a massive weekend, people are at least going to look at South Carolina. They're going to look at the box score. They're going to, whether it's good or bad, they're going to look. They're going to pay attention. Tomorrow morning, when you turn on game day and you watch Lee Corso, the great Lee Corso, you know what? At some point, game day is going to mention South Carolina and Eastern Illinois, a game that has a 40-point spread. There's no reason to talk about this game. But because of the Zeb Nolan story, South Carolina is getting publicity. And right now, for a team that's won 6 football games in their last 22, any publicity that doesn't involve the NCAA trying to have infractions or anything that's going like in the actual court system or players in trouble, any publicity is good publicity. People are paying attention. If Zeb Nolan comes out tomorrow night,
Your Honor.
Hold on. Final statement. Final statement. If Zeb Nolan comes out tomorrow night and has a monster game, 18 of 20, 20 of 22 for 250 yards, it continues to be a story through the weekend. Continues to be a story.
Your Honor.
I don't think you're allowed to interrupt. I don't think people are allowed to interrupt in the courtroom like this.
I'll hear from Tim now.
Thank you. I didn't realize that we were doing filibustering in the opening arguments. It's very simple, Your Honor. I will state my case here plainly and simply. Zeb Nolan transferred from FCS North Dakota State, where he got beat out as a starting quarterback last year. You're an SEC program. It is not good to have a guy who thought his career was over now taking off his graduate assistant coaching gear, strapping on the pads, and starting at quarterback. Game number 1. Let's call our first witness, shall we? Patrick Perrette to the stand. Bill, he's your witness. Go right ahead.
Patrick, you agree with me. Any publicity right now is good. This is how you do it, guys. I learned this when I was in high school. Patrick, you would agree with me. This is good publicity for South Carolina because right now nobody's in trouble with the NCAA. Nobody's in trouble with the law. This is simply good publicity for South Carolina. People will be paying attention tomorrow.
I'll counter your question with a question of my own. Has any
people do on the witness stand? Lisa,
yeah, I'm asking the questions here. I'm asking the question.
Wait a minute. I don't think this is how this goes.
Has any self-respecting program ever started a coach who flipped a quarterback 2 weeks before the first game?
A 2-8 program? I'm confused.
That's self-respecting
right now. Who should be yelling? Who should be leading the witness right now?
The defense attorney.
I feel like aren't I the person wandering around trying to convince the jury? It should not be me.
Yeah, it's not.
Why am I getting questioned for the witness?
Permission to treat the lawyer hostile.
All right. South Carolina's a bad football program right now. They've won 6 games in 2 years.
So let's accentuate how bad they are by showing how they're putting a coach out there under center game.
There's a reason there's a coaching change. There's a reason.
The coaching change is that the coach is now playing quarterback because the quarterback room was so sorry.
That coach has played football more recently than any other quarterback on the roster, and
what happened last time he played football?
He played in April.
He got beat out by a freshman.
That wasn't. I said he played in April.
Oh well.
It sounds like the defense is rested. Would you like anything else with the witness, sir?
I'm confused. Who's the defense now? Was I just on the stand?
Just listen to your voice. You're obviously the defense. You're on the defensive. All right, I've got just one question for you, Mr. Perrette, on cross-examination here. Who now is the starting quarterback for North Dakota State? Is it, in fact, that freshman who beat out Zeb Nolan last year, or is it someone else?
No, it's Quincy Patterson, who was an Elite 11 recruit. He's a big-time player. You can't hold that against Zeb Nolan.
Wait a second. So is the guy who beat out Zeb Nolan at North Dakota State, still with the North Dakota State program, and just got beat out himself. Let the record show.
Yes, but he's playing behind a kid who was beating out
That's all I
everybody
was
in South
looking for.
Carolina.
Your Honor, that's all I was looking for. I plead with you to remove this witness, maybe the worst witness in the history of the sport
He is a
court.
bad witness.
Well, I was ready to fight
bad.
back against Tim
He is
too,
a
but he
bad
controlled the
witness.
witness a lot better than Bill did.
All right,
very confused on what happened.
Lawyer Lisa, have we moved forward to closing arguments? Is that where we are right here?
Yes, we are. If you guys are resting on your cases, you can present your closing arguments.
Thank you. Bill, please go first.
Very quickly, to sum it up, again, good publicity right now is all good publicity. Nobody is in the courtroom for actions that they did outside of the football field. The NCAA's not here. Look, Zeb Nolan, if he goes out tomorrow and he's awful, nobody's going to care. If he's great, it continues to be a neat story. Luke Doty will be back next week. This is good publicity for South Carolina. Bottom line, people will pay attention this weekend to South Carolina for reasons that they really have zero reason to watch. So, yes, people are paying attention. There you go, Your Honor. It is great publicity. This is a good thing. I rest.
All right, Tim.
Do I have to say something? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's it. Tim, you have your closing argument?
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't really need to make one here, I don't think. Ladies and gentlemen of the non-existent jury here, you've heard from the defense. I think the case is, hey, this guy didn't do anything illegal, and it's a neat story. What are we talking about here? Is this JV middle school football where we want everything to be neat and fun? This is SEC football, ladies and gentlemen. You want the best players to play. You want wins. You pay for wins. That's what an SEC football program is all about. This Zeb Nolan story. There's nothing personal here. Like the guy. Great story. Neat story. Not good for South Carolina football. The prosecution rests.
Okay. I'm ready to make my ruling.
Excellent. I like that there's not much deliberation here. I don't think this is a good sign for the defense. I think that's what they say in the John Grisham books that I read. Let's hear Lawyer Lisa weighing in. First ever sport court segment here. The Zeb Nolan story. Good or bad for South Carolina football? Which way are you going, Your Honor?
Well, and y'all will now learn that this is sometimes how court goes. So my ruling is that every game that Zeb Nolan starts, that he must win it for the Gamecocks. And I further order that the Gamecocks must win at least 6 games and make it to a bowl game this season.
So wait a second.
So ordered.
Which one won? The defense or the prosecution? Did Patrick win? He was just a witness. I think Patrick won.
Big Patrick won.
Excellent.
That's how it works sometimes.
Lawyer Lisa
how it works sometimes.
Coming out of nowhere. Well done. I think this is where we have to get our ultra serious theme music going again there, Jen, and wrap up the first sport court segment. Lawyer Lisa, lawyerlisa.com. Is that the best way to get in touch with you and to help everybody out there?
Yes, and even though we're talking about sports, we normally handle estate planning, elder law, long-term care planning, and real estate, not so much a sports agent.
That makes sense. LawyerLisa.com, the place to go. Thanks for being a good sport here, even if I think you ruled against me. And how that happened, I have no idea. Sport Court. There's always next time for sure. We'll do it every Friday morning right here on the early game, and maybe we'll figure out exactly who's going to be the defense and the plaintiff and the witness. I think Patrick needs to be just a bailiff, especially with that mustache. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
I could do that. I like that.
Yeah.
That person steals the show on Lawyer Television.
Exactly.
Next time I'm bringing more of my constituents.
He was running for
We need more
office.
witnesses.
He was running for office and filibustering and already in office. Unbelievable. We need to recover from this. You're listening to the early game. It's 107.5.
The Game is omnipresent and free of charge. Free of charge. In your car. Free of charge. Online. Free of charge. On the app and streaming on your smart speaker.
A serious conversation right there. Thank goodness last night got a great night of sleep. That's exactly what I do with a sleep number bed. It helps me be prepared whether I'm doing a sports talk show or I have to make an appearance in the 1075 The Game courtroom. Whichever one. As long as you get a great night of sleep, you're rested, you're refreshed, you're ready to go, you're ready to deal with whatever life throws at you. So get a great night of sleep. Right now, discover the Sleep Number 360 smart bed now during the Labor Day weekend special. All beds are on sale where you can save 50% on a new limited edition smart bed plus free delivery and setup on all smart beds. Plus, you can get special financing, subject to credit approval, minimum monthly payments required. See sleepnumber.com for details. Right now, 2 stores to visit. One in Irma on Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings. The other in Columbia, 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. Again, discover the Sleep Number 360 smart bed now during the Labor Day weekend special. All beds are on sale where you can save 50% on a new limited edition smart bed with free delivery and setup. Again, this deal ends Monday. And for those of you wondering, because I know you are, the Sleep Number setting last night, 55. 55 is the number. Sleep Number setting, 55, because you need to know. Make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like.
Thank you, Mark.
There we go.
Allen, they do. They have a couple of scholarship quarterbacks, Jason Brown and Colton Gauthier.
That's right.
I don't know if they've even figured out exactly what Zeb Noland is, because it's just never happened before.
Oh, good. I got one constitute. New guy, Jeff.
Is that like a constituent?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I'm sorry. The sun is shining on the. I can't read. Constituent. Oh, I see Ray is all fired up this morning. Did we say anything about the SEC? How many texts so far? Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 would be the answer in less than 2 hours. I am impressed.
And then, yeah, none of us picked South Carolina to have a winning season, so I don't know what he's all fired up about.
Well, I did say 6-6. Does that count as a winning?
No, that would be 500.
It's Ray.
Phones are clear.
Listening comprehension is not his best part.
Jen, I sent you a question there in the old private chat.
Oh, I saw it. Let me see.
Thank you. Hope's going 6-6.
I feel like the really, really, really optimistic Gamecock fans are going for 7. Just the optimistic are at 6, and then everybody else is at 5 or worse 4. Does that seem right? And then you got Gamecock Larry at 8 or 9.
I'm not sure.
Seems about right. I heard you, Jim.
So it was 27-9 with 8 minutes to go in the third quarter last night in this App State East Carolina game. By the way, well, Patrick left. Patrick walked away. They've got on that turf that we were talking about, Patrick saying they just tear it up. In one end zone, it says App State. So you think they just tear it up and throw it away? I don't think they do that, do they?
Yeah.
It's awesome, Chris. Good news. Congratulations.
How about that? Elite. He is elite. Yeah, Mark. A nice performance last night on the live stream. Mark was a pro. He had his headset going. Audio sounded excellent. Even got, I think, his daughter Charlotte to make an appearance. He was appropriately camera shy as well.
This is the perfect tweet to define the start of college football. Mike Golick Jr. just tweeted this out. Some guy at a restaurant in the Baltimore airport just ripped a shot of something brown at 6:53 Eastern time. We're all officially playing for second today. So I'm guessing a bourbon shot to start the day.
We're about to head back in. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thanks. Guys are up.
Constituents. That was a text in from Michael on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, coming off of our first ever Sport Court segment that Mark on the live video stream said he enjoyed that segment. Jeff weighing in as well says, loving Sport Court. Have to agree with Bill. The attention for the program is a good thing. Bill, you got one constituent here. My prediction wins. Jeff says, let's go Cox. Brad says, remind me never to hire Bill to defend me. That rambling on would get me the death penalty for a speeding ticket.
No, I'm pretty good at this. I'm chalking that one up as a victory. I won that one. I think. Good. It's a winner.
See what happens next episode of Sport Court.
I just got to get a better witness. What happened to our witness in that thing? Like, why is the witness yelling at the defense?
Well, I would have yelled at Tim too, but half the battle is witness control.
Patrick, what kind of witness goes in with the goal of yelling at all the attorneys?
An unbiased.
That was your goal?
Yeah.
Just to go against any questions? You're just automatically going against the grain?
Yeah.
Right.
Devil's advocate. I said my favorite lawyer, but it was devil's advocate. I was playing devil's advocate.
Okay, I will remember that next time. I got to take a new strategy into my cross-examination, I think. Appreciate you guys playing along with that. Would love to have you as witnesses if you think you would like to weigh in next week. We'll have a new Sport Court segment for you every Friday morning, 7:30, with lawyer Lisa there ruling. I was surprised she came out of nowhere, and she really did tell us, like, this is actually how it goes in court. You don't know how it's going to go, and then the judge pretty much decides. And it may or may not be based on testimony and arguments. So Zeb Nolan has to win every game he starts, and the Gamecocks must at least go 6-6. We got out of Sport Court this morning. Our predictions, that's exactly what Bill's season prediction is for the Gamecocks, 6-6. Patrick and I are both going 5-7 as we sit here this morning with 3 non-conference wins, not counting Clemson. Then 2 conference wins with Vandy and Tennessee. Bill, you're going with Kentucky as the 3rd conference win there, or Missouri? I think I heard Kentucky earlier.
Auburn.
Neither one. You're going with Auburn. Beat up.
Yeah,
He is a beat up Auburn team at that point late in the season. What about like the Mike Bobo factor in there? I know you mentioned Derek Mason. You think he might just be using this as a stepping stone to get back as a head coach?
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this too. If you had to rank Auburn, Missouri, and Kentucky, I think rank those 3 in order. Toughest to easiest. In terms of stuff on those games.
Auburn, Kentucky, Missouri.
Yeah, I'll give it. I think it's Missouri, Kentucky, and then I think it's Auburn.
Okay, because Missouri's on the road,
Mm-hmm.
right? Auburn and Kentucky are at home.
I think
I'm going to go Kentucky simply for where it is on the schedule, and knowing that it's a home game. Carolina will be playing with a bunch of confidence at that point, relatively compared to some of those other games. But I think they might be the best team, if that makes sense. Patrick, that make any sense to you? I think Kentucky on X's and O's and just a player standpoint, I think it might be the toughest. But where it is in the season, I feel like it might be the best chance the Gamecocks have to win one of those 3 games.
Yeah, I mean they're different. Kentucky is going to have a good offensive line. They're going to be able to run the football with Chris Rodriguez. I think Will Levis is a good athlete, is from what I've heard. But Auburn, I mean, Auburn's going to have one of the best secondaries in college football. I think their offensive line has been suspect for the last couple of years, but Tank Bigsby by himself is a monster. I guess with Auburn being that late in the season, Brian Harson's known to be a bit of a quarterback whisperer. I think Mike Bobo fancies himself a quarterback guy too. Is there any shot that by the end of this season they actually get Bo Nix to be a legitimate SEC caliber starting quarterback? Or is it November 20th and they've already gone to their second quarterback because Bo Nix is just a disaster and running around like a chicken with his head cut off, throwing the ball up into triple coverage? Like that will be the question for me. If South Carolina beats Auburn, I'm thinking Bo Nix does not make it to November 20th.
To me, if you're talking about combinations on paper, it seems to be about as good as Bo Nix could get at offensive coordinator with Mike Bobo, a guy who's known for the downhill running game. You got Tank Bigsby coming back. You got some play action, deep shots. I mean, if Bo Nix can't thrive in the Mike Bobo offense, then he's just not going to be able to do it. I think that there are so many question marks. I think it's the most intriguing matchup of the entire season for Carolina, and it's not even close, that Auburn game. We'll know a lot by the time they come to town, for sure, for the second straight year, which is really, really weird as well that we're not talking about, or that just kind of goes, I guess, unspoken, for the weird year that was last year. And now we're back to much more closer to normal college football. We'll continue to discuss. Hour 3 coming up.
Wow, Jay from the Interstate just picked a 4-3 conference record. That would be something.
That would be something. One cancellation,
Yeah,
but still has to count against your record there, Jay.
Mel Kiper this morning said that Emory Jones could be the next Joe Burrow.
Wow. But he can't. Like, Burrow, that was his second year starting, right?
Yeah. He got
transfer and the whole thing.
He got to camp really late his first year at LSU. Like, it was basically a month before the season, I think.
Just had someone reply to a tweet that I had last night talking about the Minnesota-Ohio State game. Started by saying, in parentheses, 107.5, say that South Carolina is a bad team is a pretty ignorant statement. She recruited fine, couldn't develop players. South Carolina is a capable bowl-bound team under Beamer and company.
This is it. Travis sent me this link on the MetLife Stadium on how they do the turf.
Right.
It's actually really interesting because they switch from the Jets to the Giants. Actually showing the whole stadium, but the turf is interesting. I guess I never really thought about some of this stuff, like how it's in pieces, kind of like a basketball court.
Right.
Oh, they only change out the end zones. That makes sense. So instead of the whole field.
Right.
So I guess all you have to do is maybe take certain parts of the field and redo it.
So they're keeping that Duke's Mayo Bowl logo there at midfield.
Yeah, I guess so.
The end zones, and then they'll probably switch that with the Panthers, the NFL logo, come next week. I think the Panthers play there.
Panthers players they were not happy about the switch to artificial turf.
No, they weren't. The thing about it, and I've heard about it, a long time ago when they really started going to this turf, is where it kind of comes together, and people being worried about their cleats getting stuck in like the, what do you want to call it, the seams, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like they do anything specifically to put the seam together. It's pushed together very tightly. That's interesting. Thank you, Travis. Good video. Informative. Quite informative. I feel like Jim's being an optimistic Clemson fan. 5-7 for the Gamecocks. That's not what most Clemson fans seem to be predicting.
Right. I mean, with the way that he tweets, I would have thought he would have gone 3-9 or 2.
Yeah, I still contend Jim gets it. He's a Corley from Lexington. I know all those guys. Jim's never answered me. I need to ask him if his nephew, or I'm sure he's related to Dan Corley, who's my age. I wonder if he's related to Tracy Corley. Again, a lot of Corleys in Lexington. We're overrun by them. I don't think Jim's related to Tracy, though, but I'm pretty sure he's related to Dan. It is a beautiful morning out there. Where's Anthony and his bottle of tequila? I'm ready to start the weekend. It's 8 a.m.
Watch out.
I'm thinking today it will be Andy's Deli. I think did I mention that yesterday on air, or was that last night?
You did.
Yeah, you mentioned it yesterday.
It was on air? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I can't remember. Like we did, when you start doing a morning show, but then you get together on the live stream last night, I get confused on where I said something. But yeah, I think it'll be an Andy's Deli day.
We're heading back in.
I think Lauren and I are going to go down there and see the family, and then go stock the locker, check out the stadium. Hey, text Ansley. Let's kind of figure out what time we need to go get them. I kind of texted her yesterday. Apparently she's done by like noon too. So if they're both done by 1, we could pick them up. They could go with us and go get lunch down there if they don't eat lunch. Might just ask her how she feels too. She felt fine yesterday.
All right, you're up. You're up.
Bittersweet feelings here, gentlemen. It's been my favorite intro that we've had for the last good bit. I think it's time to retire the Perfect Strangers theme song intro.
Yeah, we need to find another.
Patrick, you don't think so?
Is that?
Well, this is what you get for being a bad witness.
It got us through basically the entire pandemic. It's inspiring, but now I think it's time to turn the page. Last harmonica. Patrick, every good thing has to come to an end.
Yeah.
Still, nothing will stop you now, especially with that mustache as we roll into hour number 3. College football season is already here. We had it last night. We got it going in its entirety this weekend. Gamecocks, Eastern Illinois. 7 p.m. Zeb Noland will be the starting quarterback for Carolina. A couple of other players that we're most interested to see, we've already discussed this morning. Patrick went with Marshawn Lloyd at running back. Again, a guy I feel like we've talked about forever. Bill, you very accurately pointed out, maybe for the first time in the history of the show.
No.
Hasn't taken a carry for South Carolina. Not a single carry. And you're going to see that for the first time tomorrow night. Jaheim Bell has been brought up at tight end. Really interested to see how he might be able to start living up to some of the talk and the projection, the expectation at tight end, how this new offense will utilize the tight ends. Juju McDowell, another really exciting player at running back who's kind of come out of nowhere to insert himself into the running back conversation. Me, I want to see what DeCarrion Joyner can do, a guy who has been around the South Carolina program forever in various capacities and has never really contributed on the field outside of managing that big Georgia upset at quarterback a couple of years ago. I want to see if he can be a legit wide receiver, which South Carolina desperately needs and just didn't have last year outside of Shi Smith. So that's on the offensive side of the ball. Let's switch sides and go to the defensive side of the ball, which I feel like has been kind of under the radar for Carolina. I feel like that's Clayton White's personality. He's not a look at me attention grabbing kind of guy, but I've been really impressed with what I've heard so far. His 4-2-5 scheme seems to go against the personnel that he's got coming back, right? Because the secondary was the thinnest and weakest position coming back, and yet you got more of those guys on the field than any other position. So that's why I'll throw out a name to begin this conversation with Marcellus Dial at corner is who I'm really interested in seeing is legit guy. We've heard good things in preseason camp. A JUCO guy coming in a little bit older. Carolina has to have guys they can trust in that secondary, and I think it starts with Dial Saturday night against Eastern Illinois, which had a receiver, by the way, that went for over 100 yards in their opener. So to me, if you struggle at all against Eastern Illinois, not a good sign moving forward, obviously, with the rest of your season. And Dial is the guy I will be watching most intently, I think, on defense. Bill, who you got? One name on the defensive side of the ball for the Gamecocks in the open.
I don't know, man. Somebody, Joey.
There we go.
Joey,
Now, start
Joey,
again, please.
I said, I don't know. I mean, there's so many. Joey says Alex Huntley on the live stream. He's certainly one of them. I want to see Jordan Birch in year 2. He's not going to start, but I think he's going to play a lot. Jordan Strong is a guy.
You guys got to watch the video stream. Patrick is holding up one finger right now.
I don't know.
One name.
No, I don't. It's hard.
It's hard.
What we do, we make
sports
decisions.
radio is easy.
Sit down, witness.
Sports radio is hard.
No, it's not. It's actually really
very difficult.
Tyrese Ross from Ross.
Okay. Pick one.
Just pick one name, dude. One name. Got to pick one.
All right, I'll pick JJ Enagbare. Just like
I
you
haven't
said.
seen enough of him.
Look, but here's the difference. Here is the difference. One, I don't care about the secondary. I care about them as a unit more than one individual guy. Marcellus Dial can lock down one side, sure. But if it's a disaster on the other side, or if the safeties aren't ready, if there's not good communication, it can still be horrible. He is your best chance to completely wreck a game by himself. And also, sometimes you see it when a guy starts to feel that draft buzz, or he gets a bunch of talk about it during the season. It could be kind of an extra level of motivation for him, or he feels the confidence like, yeah, I am that dude. Maybe he takes that and just turns it into one of the most dominant pass rushing seasons South Carolina's seen. It's like when you name the quarterback early, hey, you're our starter, and it empowers the quarterback, gives him the confidence, everything he needs to be a leader. Seems like Enagbare has done that on the defensive side. He's got the number one. He's got the swag. Everybody's talking about him. It's a loaded defensive end class this year in the SEC and nationally, but he could be that dude. He could be a first-round pick, top 10 pick. If he's got all the confidence in the world from people hyping him up and he wants to live up to that hype, he could be a menace this year.
I'll go Zach Pickens for everything that you said,
Thank you.
but wanting to see him be that guy. Everything you just said about Enagbare, but wanting to see Zach Pickens develop into that guy. I'll go Pickens tomorrow night. Yeah, there's just so many. The defense will be interesting.
And Jason just hit us on the Facebook live stream and says Cam Smith wants to see how he's really developed. I think it's another fascinating one out at corner. I'm not sure how much he's going to play tomorrow because he's coming off that foot injury. So I'm not sure. I would have picked him. But I can't get a full understanding. I don't think we're going to get a full understanding of the player that Cam Smith's going to be in 2021 in the opener. I think we will for Marcellus Dial at the other corner spot there. Want to get out to the Love Chevy phone lines now. Fridays at the start of hour number 3, we typically check in on high school football with our buddy Chris Deary, covering high school football this year with Prep Red Zone, and rolling into, I guess, officially week 2. We're going to call it week 3, though, because we don't believe in week 0. Chris, what stands out to you as we head into tonight, sir?
Well, Tim, the biggest thing that stands out this week is a lot of teams are making their season debut. They've had some COVID issues, and there's a handful of teams here in the Midlands just playing their first game is, like you said, really in week 3 here. Brooklyn Casey hadn't played yet. They're going over to Blythewood, who is already 2-0. Who else hasn't played? Dreer or Keenan hadn't played yet. They're playing each other tonight. Let me run down the list here. Swansea's not played yet. They're going over to Batesburg, Leesville. So a lot of teams are starting their season tonight, and that's sort of odd, and I was thinking back to last year, earlier this week, we didn't start the season until after Labor Day. And, that might not have been the worst decision ever made this year if it would have been put in place, but they didn't put it in place. And so we've started the season. Teams have had to juggle things around, and we are where we are at this point. But, should be an interesting night of football here in the Midlands. The weather is perfect this morning. You couldn't ask for anything better, especially for the Carolina game tomorrow with the type of weather we're going to have. So just exciting time for high school football and college football here in the area.
At CDarian82, where you can follow Chris on Twitter for all your high school football updates. We've got our Love Chevy High School Football Show tonight from 9 until midnight with Justin Hall and Tommy Moody. Chris, I had 2 words for you. You said exciting. I'm with you on that just because football is here. But from the high school football standpoint, my question is
got disconnected.
Confidence and frustration. I can't imagine right now being in charge of a high school football program and dealing with protocol issues and contact tracing and the whole thing. I mean, my kids are 8 and 6. They've already gone through it in school. Bill, I know your kids have gone through this as well, but doing this through the lens of a high school football coach, Chris, my question is, how frustrating do you get the feel that high school football coaches are? How frustrated are they right now dealing with all this, juggling with all this, and trying to coach football? And then how confident do you feel like these guys are that this season is going to continue on and you're going to get a relatively normal football season and then playoffs and championship and the whole deal?
They are very frustrated right now. I've talked to a number of them here in the last week. Some of them that's been in this thing for a long time are talking about how frustrated they are, and this might be it for them just because of everything they've had to deal with last year and this year. So it's been a real struggle. I do think, even this week, we've had some regions make decisions and move games up in the schedule to where they have a couple weeks at the end. If they do get something postponed for region play, they're able to make them up. It's just a real challenge because, again, we talked about it last week. It's nothing uniform across the board. We have 40-something regions in this state, and each one makes their own decision on how they're going to handle things. That makes it difficult for everybody involved. But I do think, I do think we're going to finish the season. I mean, we were able to do it last year. I don't see any reason we can't do it again this year. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be something every week. I know coaches I've talked to, the last thing they want to see is a phone number pop up that they notice a trainer or a doctor or a kid telling them more than likely it's not even it's a positive COVID test, it's contact tracing. And that's been the biggest thing that they've been having to deal with. Kids don't have COVID, but they've been around someone that has, and that sort of shuts a lot of things down. So it's been a real challenge, but I do think we're going to plug ahead and get the season completed. But it's going to be, I think this week, if my count is right, I think there was 35 games canceled, and last week I think there were 45. So there's cancellations every week. It's just how you adjust and do things on the fly. And let's just hope we can get through today and nothing else gets canceled for the night. I mean, we have a night of football.
He's Chris Deering covering high school football for Prep Red Zone. Chris, 2 questions to get you out on. First, the high school story of the week was by far Bishop Sycamore and the fraud program that it is getting on ESPN Play at IMG. How does that happen, man? How did this Bishop Sycamore thing happen?
That if I figure that out, Tim, I'm probably gonna be somewhere outside of Columbia on a national television show or radio show talking about it, because I don't know how that happened. The team played on Friday night. They turned around again and played on Sunday on national television against probably the premier high school team in the country right now in IMG. And how no one checked into this or looked into this, and ESPN just dropped the ball. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. They dropped the ball on this situation. They put a team on there that should have never been on national TV, and as we've come to find out, they shouldn't even be playing. They're playing with a bunch of kids that are junior college dropouts and older than high school kids, but they still went out and couldn't compete with IMG. So it was an embarrassment for everybody involved in that situation.
Final question for you, Chris. I've gone 5-7. Patrick, 5-7. Bill says 6-6. You've been around Gamecock football also a long time in your life. What's the 2021 final regular season record in Shane Beamer's first season as a head coach?
Well, I can't believe I'm agreeing with Bill here.
Yeah, boy.
I've said 6-6 for a while. I'm sticking to that. I think this team is better than a lot of people give them credit for. There's talent there. You know, I think depth is probably going to be an issue, but the frontline talent, I think, is pretty good. As long as this team can stay healthy, I definitely can see 6 wins. I think the ceiling is probably 7 or 8. I don't think they can go much higher than that. But I think the floor is about 5. I don't think they win less than 5. After, you know, I'm sure both of you guys or all you guys watched East Carolina last night, I feel a little bit more confident about that game right now. So I'm going 6-6.
6-6 at C Deering 82. You guys can tweet him there. Follow his work tonight and every Friday night with high school football. Prep Red Zone is who he's doing it for this year. Chris, really appreciate the time as always and the info. Hope you have a good weekend, and we'll hear from you again tonight on that Love Chevy High School Football Show. Sound good?
Sounds perfect, Tim. I appreciate it, guys.
Chris Deering, take care. Agreeing with Bill. Congratulations, Bill. It sounds like you got another constituent.
Just they keep adding up. There's a couple out there that are completely on the opposite side. But I can tell you, it's been a good morning for me. It's been a good morning.
So we talked about in that segment, frustration, a challenge, and yet confident about the high school football season getting done and dealing with all the issues. I feel like those are 3 words you could use to describe this show as well. Frustrating, challenging, and yet confident somehow. Doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Also, how we can sum up your attitude when you make your college football picks. We're going to do that with really good first weekend of college football games overall. And we got some good picks coming up for you. We're going to pick 5 games. We're going to do it every Friday. We'll keep track of the records there and hold everyone accountable. Our picks coming up for this weekend, and we'll set the slate for you as well for college football at large. That's coming up next here, 803-404-6100 if you would like to weigh in on the Love Chevy phone lines with the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Dan Patrick, weekdays.
The doors open. It's going to be a beautiful weekend, but you need to be thinking ahead. You know, we're going to have a few more extremely hot days coming up over the next month. Then we're going to go into winter. And while you're still probably thinking about those hot days, you need to start preparing for the winter. Now's the time to call AAA Heating and Air. Roy and Dana Finley, they have treated me like family. They will do the same for you. A company that's been in business. They know what they're doing. They have experienced technicians that come out to your home. They can supervise and look and see and make sure that your heating and air unit is working well. And you don't want a situation to arise in the middle of the night or in the morning and then have to rush somebody out there. Go ahead and call AAA Heating and Air today. Get somebody out to your home and get your heating and air unit inspected. 803-677-1500. That's the way you can get in touch with Roy and Dana. AAA Heating and Air, they are a family-run company, and they're going to make sure they treat you like they would their own family member. 803-677-1500. You say, Bill, what do you mean treat you like your own family member? Well, here's what they do. They will if you have a problem with your heating and air unit, they'll actually offer you a $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit. Then they'll work with you. No money down, 0% financing on a new unit. And on top of all that, they don't want anything to go wrong. They want to take care of you. They'll offer you a 15-year parts and labor warranty to make sure that you're taken care of for a long time. AAA Heating and Air, 803-677-1500. Give them a call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Be right back.
All right, Patrick, you ready for our pick segment here?
Ready.
Excellent. Trying to see how the day plays out. So the noon, Penn State, Wisconsin. Great way to start on Fox, huh?
Yeah, in Madison, right? I think.
Yeah, at Wisconsin.
That will be fun.
Fox. Okay. The Miami game
Miami,
is 3:30 at Miami.
It's in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, it just says at. That's weird. Right. $3:30 ABC. Oh, what a good day. A good spaced out day for us. That Louisiana-Texas game at 4:30 as well might creep up on somebody. Another top 25 game, Indiana-Iowa at 3:30. That's also ABC. Wow. I think I heard it correctly. First time ever LSU's been at the Rose Bowl.
I guess
Great
that
Saturday.
would be surprising, right? They'll play in
What's
Vegas
that?
for that Southern Cal game will be the first time they've ever played in Vegas too.
Nice.
LSU would have only played in a Rose Bowl for a national championship, right? Really? But all their
Sounds
their
right.
national championships, at least recently, have been in New Orleans.
I'm not sure exactly why, but I know they're playing all of them at Benedict, I believe. There, Alan. Yeah. Anthony is by far the best listener we'll ever have. Just dominates. Patrick, you should have seen him last night. I mean, it was basically like having you with your reactions to Bill, the natural reactions to Bill, and just shaking his head, and then like you're asking for the one-word answers today, Anthony would just pop right in there, and then he showed us proof of his purchase of nut dust at one point. Amazing.
He got nut dust. Okay.
Amazing.
We need a review.
So we might dump out of this one a little bit early. Definitely the latest I want to get out is 40 for Carey. It's an especially busy day for him. If he's going to make the time, we need to at least give him some time.
Agreed. Hey, Tim, I just sent you a text verifying.
Thank you.
Password.
That sounds right, Jen.
Okay. It doesn't seem to be working, but I will try again.
Oh,
Or take out the dot?
no, it's minus those last 4 characters, the password.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Maybe that was just Siri might have just typed that for me or something. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get Deering up. For some reason, some of the path mapping, file mapping, whatever, is not working, and I had to record onto the Vox Pro, so I'm having to, in real time, record it to the internet computer, so then I can the sport court, so then I can upload it. So it's taking longer to get it up, but it'll be up shortly.
Impressive. Thank you, Jen.
You don't want things easy.
RL's also in, and Marty Smith. He's got to get some royalties for this.
Voyager.
There we go, Anthony. All right. Yeah, I'm fired up. 8:25.
Did you see the Bojangles?
Yeah, I did. I saw a picture of that.
What's that?
The Bojangles by the stadium is now all garnet.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Oh, wow.
Too.
That's
Yeah.
cool. We're heading back in.
You just got a traffic picture sent on the text line, Jen. Corner of Wilson Boulevard and Wilkes.
Okay.
Like an accident with emergency personnel on hand.
Delightful. All right, we'll get to that. Thanks. Okay.
About to make our picks for the college football week. Great time to remind you. Hot Take Hotline there for you 24/7. You're watching a game this weekend, you just got to get your take out. Maybe it was like the targeting not called on Ohio State last night. You need to vent. That's what that Hot Take Hotline is there for. 803-978-6654. Sponsored by Twin Peaks for the men who never settle. Go see them down in Vista at 600 Gervais Street tomorrow. An especially good time to be at Twin Peaks with all the flat screen TVs they have there. It's going to be a great day of college football. I mean, not just the fact that it's the opening day. That's always a great day for those of us who love college football. But there are legit matchups. And Patrick and Bill, guys, I feel like if you were a commissioner or a czar of college football, this is, from a timing standpoint, exactly how you would space out these games. Starting at noon, 19 Penn State, at number 12 Wisconsin, at Camp Randall, noon on Fox. From a Big Ten standpoint, it stinks, right? Your game of the week is at noon. But I think from our college football fandom, that is a great way to start off the day with a couple of name brands at a great football environment at noon. And it should be a really interesting one. That's the first one we're going to pick. What do you guys think about Wisconsin minus 5.5 taking on Penn State?
I'm going to go with Wisconsin. I think at home, Graham Mertz is back at quarterback. He was really good when he played last year. They are going with I forget his last name. Ches is his first name, and I forget his last name. The Clemson transfer at running back. I know they had 2 guys suspended, but give me Wisconsin minus the 5.5.
Patrick, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same way. I mean, I think it opened as a little bit close. I think it opened as like a field goal game. It's been getting wider and wider. I think Penn State is kind of topped out. I think Sean Clifford's a bum, and I think Graham Mertz is going to be really good. Like, that is what Wisconsin's been missing. They've always had great linemen, always had a great running game, but they haven't had that big-time quarterback that can really open it up. I think he was a 5-star, looked good as a freshman. I think Wisconsin might be the real deal, so I will take the 5.5 and feel pretty good about it.
All right, we're going to make it a clean sweep. Man, Penn State was just not good last year. And I can't believe on the road at Wisconsin they're going to pull off a win in week 1. And so a touchdown win for Wisconsin, I think, is a lot. I'm with you guys on the Wisconsin pick for that first game, noon tomorrow. All right, then that moves us on. You got not many more contenders at noon tomorrow. That's going to be the game on most of the TVs around the country for sure from a college football perspective. Then at 3:30, Alabama, Miami, ABC. This one on a neutral field in Atlanta, and Alabama coming in having to replace so much, and yet still a 19.5 point favorite against Miami in this game. And by the way, it's not like Miami isn't supposed to be good this year. Miami getting some preseason love too. Where are they in the preseason? They're number 14 in the country. To me, gentlemen, this shows the massive gap between the top of college football and then anywhere close to contending, somewhere between 5 and 25 in the rankings, numbers maybe 6 and 25 in the rankings. Just how we're seeing college football at large. Bill, how are you seeing the specific game and spread? Bama minus 19.5 with Miami.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm shocked that the spread is this much, but I know Vegas is very, very smart. But to me, Miami has two things in their corner that kind of leads me to believe this game is going to be a lot closer. One is Rhett Lashley, who coached under and with Gus Malzahn at Auburn and has seen that offense and how to give Alabama problems in the past. Two, D'Eriq King is the type of quarterback that gives Alabama problems. I'm going Miami plus the 19.5. I think Alabama wins. I know Bryce Young's good. I know he played some last year. Alabama's having to replace a lot of guys. It wouldn't surprise me if they get off to a slow start and then pull away in the second half. But I'll take the 19.5.
16.5. I can't take Miami to cover that. I think 19.5. I got to do it. I think this is a 17-point game. Alabama wins pretty comfortably, but in game number 1 of the Bryce Young era, and with D'Eriq King being not just like you talked about, Bill, the type of quarterback that has given Alabama struggles, but also so experienced. And I got to think this is going to be closer than a 20-point game. So I'm with you with Miami covering. Patrick, you going to make it a clean sweep, or are you going to probably make the smart move and have Alabama to cover?
No, yeah, I'm going to take Alabama. I mean, I do like the idea that D'Eriq King is, a 6th-year player at this point and will potentially give them fits, but Miami lost a lot too. They lost Quincy Roche and Jalen Phillips from their defensive line, 2 NFL guys. I can see Alabama running all over them. Would it be crazy? It's not going to be crazy to me. Like, it's a 2-touchdown game, and it feels like Miami might have a chance with 5 minutes to go. They do something stupid, and Alabama scores a touchdown to make it a 42-21 game or something like that. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, Ohio State was down fairly late in that game last night and still ended up covering a 2-touchdown spread. I can see it looking like a 3-touchdown game, but not feeling like a 3-touchdown game, so I will take Alabama. And it's in Atlanta. If you're an Alabama fan, you might as well have a condo in Atlanta at this point. You play there 3 times a year. Like, it's going to be much more red than it will be green and orange.
Reminds me of an Omaha TV reporter asking Ray Tanner if he's invested in real estate out in Omaha back in the day with that 3rd straight trip to the national championship series. At 3:30, other good 3:30 games too. If that Alabama Miami game gets out of hand at all, you got Indiana and Iowa, number 17 versus number 18. That one's on the Big Ten Network at 3:30. Also at 4:30, another battle of ranked teams in Billy Napier. Surprisingly, I think to a lot of us, staying at Louisiana and the Raging Cajuns, 23rd in the country going into the preseason, or going into the season, I should say, at Texas, taking on the former Tom Hermans, and Steve Sarkisian opening up his tenure with the Longhorns. That one's 4:30 on Fox. Something to keep an eye on and keep in mind, but that did not make our picks. One of those games did. We're going to fast forward to the late game. LSU, first time ever at the Rose Bowl, taking on UCLA, who just dominated Hawaii in their season opener. Chip Kelly needs to show some progress real quick at UCLA. I think it's the worst couple of years the program's had in 60 years, something like that. But LSU minus 2.5 in this game. Patrick, how do you see it?
It opened at I think 4.5, and you're going to drop me below field goal. I'm going to take LSU easy. I think it's not going to be that close. I think LSU's far more talented. I kind of like UCLA as a Pac-12 contender. I like Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I think he's a good little player, but being a contender for the Pac-12 and beating an SEC heavyweight is a totally different ballgame. I think LSU is the 3rd most talented team in the SEC and one of the more talented teams in the country. Derek Stingley might be the overall best football player in the country, and I think LSU is going to smoke them, and they will probably have the home field advantage in the Rose Bowl.
I agree with Patrick here. I think it's a relatively easy pick with LSU, even though they're on the road. Bill, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to side with both you guys. I think lost in UCLA's 44-10 win last week was the DTR Dorian Thompson Robinson was not that good. He was 10 of 20 for 130 yards. He didn't have to be because they ran the ball effectively, but I think that's one area that you feel like LSU will be perfectly fine is defensive line and linebacker. Their linebackers are really good. Their defensive line's always really good. They'll be able to shut down the run game. And again, it was 44-10 last week over Hawaii. There was some turnovers by Hawaii. I watched some of the game. I don't know if you guys did. It wasn't that impressive of a performance by UCLA. I think LSU's defense is way too much for UCLA, and I'm with you. I'll take the 2.5.
All right, that leads us to the national game of the week, Clemson and Georgia. Clemson, a 3.5-point favorite, 7:30 kick on ABC in Charlotte. Bill, you get to go first here. Clemson minus 3.5 against Georgia.
I'm still torn on this game. I think it's a defensive game, and quite frankly, we don't know the depth charts. Neither team put out a depth chart. Clemson, both teams have questions on offense. Clemson's running game. What exactly is it going to look like? Is it Lynn J. Dixon? Is it Will Shipley back there? The offensive line going against that defensive line. And then on the flip side of that, same thing. Who's available and who's healthy for Georgia offensively? So you got maybe the two best defenses in the country. I know Georgia's Patrick's national championship pick. You know what? It's just one of those games that I'm not going to give Kirby Smart the benefit of the doubt. I'll go with Dabo Swinney and Clemson, and I'll actually take them to cover. I think they win by a touchdown late. I'll take the Tigers.
Maybe that'll make Clemson fans a little happier with you. I think they actually did release their depth chart, Bill. I think it was another game that you're thinking of that both teams did not.
As of 2 days ago, neither team. There was some depth chart shenanigans going on, unless something's changed. It was spring. Let me take that back. It was the depth charts both teams released were from the spring. They were not updated.
Gotcha. Patrick, Clemson, Georgia, Tigers minus 3.5.
So I've been high on Georgia. I think they're the most talented team in the country, but they're going to be a shell of themselves. That's hard to say. Showing up to Charlotte on Saturday. Eric Gilbert has yet to join the program, nor will they have Darnell Washington, the other super sophomore tight end. George Pickens will probably not be with the team until November at the earliest if he ever comes back at all. Dominic Blaylock's out. Tyke Smith, the transfer from West Virginia, is out. And Clemson's going to be basically at full strength. They returned that whole defense except Mike Jones, who's over at LSU now, and Darian Kendrick, who is at Georgia. I think Clemson's going to win this game. Clemson will go undefeated, and Georgia's not going to lose after Saturday.
Wow, that is quite a take there. I'm going to go against you guys here. I'm not going to make it a Clemson clean sweep here. I think Clemson could still win the game by a field goal. I like it to be a close game, Bill. I'm kind of with you on the low-scoring game. I like JT Daniels and his experience and his trajectory, how he finished last season. I think the Georgia offense has a slight advantage just from an experience standpoint, and I think we saw it a little bit last night. I get it that DJ Uiagalelei has a lot more experience than Ohio State quarterbacks from last night, but I think we're going to see a bit of a struggle, and that Georgia defense is so talented. So I'm going to go with Georgia here, plus 3.5. If the spread would have gone the other way, I'm taking whoever had the points in this game. So I'm going to go with Georgia. Speaking of points, we're going 40.5 for South Carolina and Eastern Illinois. Just a massive spread, especially for a team that Vegas has at 3.5 for the season total wins for the Gamecocks. Patrick, lead us off here. You got to go with Carolina minus 40.5, or are you going to take the points with Eastern Illinois?
I'll take the points. It's just too much. I think Carolina will be happy to put in the backup quarterbacks late and let them learn. And if it's a 28-point game, they'll feel okay and not feel the need to keep hammering it. Let the young guys play. Let them get comfortable. 40.5 is just so many points. I'll go ahead and take Eastern Illinois.
Bill, what do you think?
You know what? I go back to the Charleston Southern game, and we didn't know who Kevin Harris was, and Charleston Southern got worn down. Patrick, to your point, even if you put in the backups in this game, Zaquandre White, Rashad Amos, McDowell,
they could all go 75 yards on one play.
Yeah, I mean, if you just even if South Carolina keeps running the football, I don't know if Eastern Illinois can stop them. It's one of the games. I'll take the points. I'm not crazy about it. I wouldn't dare put a dime of on this game, but obviously we're picking it. look at what happened in that Charleston Southern game. South Carolina, like you said, somebody could break out. Eastern Illinois, I don't know where they stand in terms of their conference, their division, and the FCS and what they're trying to do. It reminds me, Tim, you remember when Coastal Carolina came to South Carolina during the Spurrier era, and they pulled their starters at halftime. They ended up getting beat 70-10. But I think it was Joe Moglia was the head coach at the time. He was like, this game really doesn't even matter for us. We're taking our paycheck and we're going home and we're getting ready for the FCS playoffs at that time. Eastern Illinois, if they start playing backups as well, I'll take a chance and take the Gamecocks just because I think even the backups get in, and if they start running the football, they have success.
You got to remember, too, the new coach, first game, even backups and third stringers are going to be out there trying to prove something with a chip on their shoulder from the Gamecock standpoint. And I'm with you. Eastern Illinois is not going to mortgage their entire season to try to make it less than a 40-point game. If Charleston Southern hadn't happened a couple of years ago, there is no way I would give away 40.5 points for a team that struggled on offense and hasn't scored that amount or 42-plus points, I think, since the last time Charleston Southern came in several years ago. But just because Eastern Illinois, Bill, you said you don't know where they are, they're at the bottom, man. At the bottom of the FCS. Yeah. So that's why I'm going to pick South Carolina in this one and give away those 40.5 points. But I'm with you. This is a for fun pick. I would not encourage anybody to lay a bunch of money on it with all those points, man. It does make it fun to talk about and to project. Weekly, we'll do our college football picks. Those are all of our picks today. Again, Bill going, all three of us going with Wisconsin. Bill and I going with Miami. Patrick's going against the grain there with Alabama. All three of us going with LSU. You two guys went Clemson. I picked Georgia. Patrick, the only one of us going Eastern Illinois with the points. Bill and I both giving away 40.5. We'll switch gears. Darlington, big weekend as well going on over at the Lady in Black. Darlington Raceway president, former USC Sports Information Director Kerry Tharp joins us next. It's the early game here on 107.5 The Game. And what a great time to be a football fan. It is exciting in so many different ways. It is also, I think, exciting is one word to use right now in the housing market. The timing right now of what's going on in the housing market, it can be a little overwhelming. It is for me, for sure. I don't know exactly what to make of it. Fortunately, got a good partner in Buford Lending. Benji Getzi and his team, 25 years of experience. They can put this thing in perspective, in a much bigger and more informed perspective than I can. I own a home, and I'm thinking about getting into a larger home with a growing family. The help that Buford Lending has given me in this process is invaluable. I suggest you just give them a call. That's all Buford Lending asks. Benji Getzi, he knows you might have a prior relationship with a different lender. Just give Buford Lending a call. That's all he asks. Simple. Let them prove that they can get you the best deal out there. 843-524-2404 is the number. No matter what you're in the market for, VA loan, FHA, USDA, conventional construction, renovation, looking to refinance right now, the numbers, the opportunity is there for sure. Benji Getzi and Buford Lending. Again, their number, 843-524-2404. Doug, what are you talking about here, man? I'm not hearing any of that. You're kind of freaking me out.
What is Friday Night Lights elevator music anyway?
I don't even know. Can you tell us what you're listening on, Doug? Well done, Whit. Well done. No birthday nonsense. Brilliant.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be a watch at the bar day.
You guys want to listen to the daily "You're a Racist" voicemail?
You like Tim Hill and something like that. He must have got something like him. My main man, Carol Jonah. He's been here forever. I want to see him and see what he can do. Look how long he's been on that radio station. He's not for production. Being racist and something like that, so you think probably those other two guys along with you, you're trying to follow your lead. I think they're quite intelligent. Carol Jonah alone. He was a quarterback every Sunday. He was out of diapers.
What do you say? You say leave the Carolina Joyner alone?
Right.
Yeah, it can't be just because of talent.
I don't think anyone's ever said a bad word about the Carolina Joyner on this show.
No, he's a good teammate. I mean, he's talented. Okay, so he didn't get to play in the position that he chose originally. Okay, he's doing well.
We said all year, we always said that Muschamp should have given him snaps or had a package for him.
Yeah, but some people just hear what they want to hear.
Yep.
Yes, they do.
Now he's partnered up with 107.5 game employee Preston Thorne.
Yeah. Some people hear what they want to hear. Hey, Ray heard you say. Remember, Ray heard you say 5 wins, and you're the realist, and I said 6, and I was the homer.
Yeah.
We found out where the line was on being a realist and being a homer.
1 game.
5.5.
I got us cruising over the win total by the time November hits. Actually, I got us hitting the win total by early October. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're hitting the win total October 9th.
October. Yeah, you had the 5-2 start. You weren't here for the Holtz era. You had us losing to Kentucky when we would start 5-2 and be 1 game away from bowl eligibility, having back-to-back years.
Yay! All right, thanks so much.
All right.
All right, Carrie's ready.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, guys are up.
The number to text is 64636. If you want to be flown down to Miami, hop aboard Chris Jericho's Rockin' Wrestling Rager at Sea, a 5-day adventure to Grand Bahama Island filled with live band performances, AEW wrestling, comedy, autograph sessions, and more. Text the national keyword Jericho right now to 64636. That's Jericho, Jericho, to 64636 for your chance to enter and win. Also, you got a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Southern 500, a halftime show coming up from 1 to 4 this afternoon. Going to give those away. Race tickets, camping, premium parking, all available now at darlingtonraceway.com, which is where we go on the Love Chevy phone lines. And a very busy Darlington Raceway president, Kerry Tharp, joins us now.
What's going on? What's set the scene for us right now? What are you seeing?
I tell you what, it's a lot of activity over here at Darlington Raceway, and people have really been starting to come on property as early as Tuesday when some of the campgrounds opened up, and then the campgrounds in the infield opened up yesterday. It's great to see, people back on your property having fun, enjoying themselves, socializing, those types of things, and the good Lord looks like he's going to help us with a good weather forecast.
and we're excited. We're ready to get this thing going, and look forward to a lot of fun this weekend over here at Darlington.
At Kerry_Tharp, where you can follow him on Twitter. Darlington Raceway President Kerry Tharp. I'm wondering, the old cliche in sports is you can sense a difference when the playoffs come around and it's a new season and the whole thing. Do you get that feel in NASCAR as well?
I think the intensity level certainly has risen. I think everybody's got a little bit more spring in their step, particularly those 16 drivers that have a chance to win a championship. And we know that the championship, the road to the championship starts here in Darlington. And so, come Sunday evening late, somebody's going to have taken that checkered flag and win this race. And that means they're going to have advanced to the second round of the playoffs. And so, that's exciting. It's exciting for the team, for the fans, for everyone involved. And, we certainly are going to do everything we can to play our part and make sure that everybody has just a terrific experience here at the racetrack, here at the track Too Tough to Tame. But yeah, the intensity is definitely risen here last few days.
And the phones are ringing off the hook there at Darlington.
They are.
Darlington Raceway President Kerry Tharp right now in third place in our weekly picks segment.
Gosh.
Bill Gunter has an 11-point lead over Jen. Kerry is 12 points behind Jen. And then at least, Kerry, you've got Darlington native Reggie Anderson, the sports director over at WLTX and News 19, down in fourth place. So you got a lead on him. So that's something. And you should probably just
barely
Reggie in there to answer the phones for you, too, by the way.
Right.
Get him on that.
No question.
No question. He'd mess that up as well.
I'm wondering, Kerry, before we get to our picks, I'm wondering how it's different for you and how it will be different for fans for this race as opposed to some of the other ones you've done more recently where you might have had a few more protocols or other things in place.
Well, we really haven't had a full capacity race in 2 years, September of 2019. And then in 2020, we had 2 race weekends, one race weekend with no fans and one race weekend with limited fans. And then this past May, we had a race weekend with limited fans. And still a lot of the protocols in place. But really the main thing that we're emphasizing to our fans this weekend is, be smart about your health. If you're not feeling well, or if you have any type of symptoms, you shouldn't come to the race. But come out and enjoy yourself. Be smart about things. NASCAR is asking that if you are in an enclosed space that you put a mask on. I think that's just for everybody's benefit and well-being. But we're not going to be doing any type of temperature checks or screenings or anything that we did back previously. We want our fans to kind of come back and experience things like they're used to being experienced. And so that's our goal this weekend. We're welcoming back our fans. Again, we want them to be smart about their health, but we also want them to come here and have a good time.
And certainly a busy weekend at Darlington, 3:30. The Xfinity race tomorrow, then a doubleheader on Sunday with the Truck Series starting at 1:30, and then the Cookout Southern 500 at 6 o'clock. That means we move to the picks portion of the program, Kerry. What are you thinking this weekend?
Well, I tell you what, I've been asked that all week, and I'm going to go out on a limb. A little bit of a limb. I'm going to pick a driver that's won here before. He hasn't won yet this season, but I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin to win Sunday here at Darlington.
I don't think it's going out on a limb. That's a great pick. It's like going out on a limb. Do you know what going out on a limb means?
No, Bill's saying it's a great pick. There are a lot of things that are wrong with that, I think. Jen, you're up.
There are 4. Well, there are 4. I feel comfortable this week because I'll get one. There's 4 drivers that I think you have to really like this week, and we'll see. And Hamlin is one of them, and so I feel comfortable. So who are you going with, Jim?
So you've obviously been reading the betting lines and such. Harvick runs strong here. Truex runs strong here, but Harvick, I just don't know that he can come out of the slump right now to actually win. Truex, I'm just not sure. I'm going to play favorites. I'm going to say Larson.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the favorite. That was kind
That's
of
chalk right there.
It is.
Yeah,
It is. But you know
yeah.
what, Carrie? I'm kind of playing I'm playing Bill's game this week.
You know?
For you,
Yeah, you are.
Good
That's
for
a
you.
smart strategy. It's a smart strategy.
Okay, I'm
I
glad
don't feel good about it, but
it took me 3 years to teach y'all how to pick these races. I'm glad Jen finally bought in. It's agitating. But anyway, look, you guys are right. Hamlin's a great pick. Obviously, he's been a stud there. Larson is red hot, and he's the favorite. Truex Jr. is fantastic there. I'm going to go with the fourth pick, the guy that I'm least confident in. But I love his history there. Give me Kyle Busch. He is on a streak of 10 top 10 finishes at this track, and he's got an 11th place finish. Or I think he's done that 11 out of 12 years at that track. It feels like there's going to be a breakthrough from him. So I'm going to go with Kyle Busch. I wanted to lean Truex Jr., but I'll go Kyle Busch on this, and I'll finish you guys off this weekend.
and Reggie's already said that. Reggie said if nobody picked Logano before him, that's who he is taking this
Okay,
week.
so we got
Joey Logano.
Not even on the
all 4 of them set. Darlington
Yep.
Raceway, President Kerry Thorpe, I'm trying to say we appreciate the time. I know you're extra busy today and this week. Wish you all the luck in the world for the weekend, sir.
It's gonna be fun. 30.
Appreciate it.
Kerry Thorpe, Kerry_Thorpe on Twitter. Again, DarlingtonRaceway.com for all your information. You can still get tickets and parking, camping as well there. And appreciate him and hope I'll be pulling for his pick to
15.
win. And Denny Hamlin, I was surprised, man. Bill, that's
I
your
know.
go-to guy.
Hamlin's got a
I'm
lot
glad
on
he
his
took
mind
him,
right
'cause
now.
I probably would have taken Hamlin. I'm glad he took him because Hamlin got me through last week. This weekend, I finished off you jabronis at the track. Too tough to take.
The season is here. Thanks for listening to the early.
Eastover, Columbia. This is 107.5 The Game.
All right, we made it.
We done made it.
Football season's here.
That's a good thing.
Patrick, thanks for hopping in, man.
Yeah. Hitting the road to Nashville there. Hour
nice.
or so, probably.
Reminder,
guys.
live streamers, we will be, if you want to wake up, if you're not working on Monday, you get up, have your cup of coffee, you can join us to relive the weekend. We are on Monday, so
Hey, we're open for business.
don't forget about us.
Good call. I thought you were going to tell him to join you for the pregame show. Bill and
Oh, yeah, that
Heath
too.
are all
Yeah.
working tomorrow, 2:00. They'll
Yeah,
start
I
the
don't get
pregame
good service out there, so I don't know if I'll be able to. I might, you know how Heath is, but my phone doesn't get good. Any of my iPad, whatever out there when I take it, because of all the people coming in, doesn't get good service. I don't think we'll be able to live stream that.
Sounds like an excuse to me.
Possibly.
Kind of does. Sounds pretty
Feel free to
standard.
just pop on the live stream, give everybody a little guided walking tour early on. Maybe
Yeah.
You think live stream it up? Okay.
you can just
Yeah, 'cause
live
we can
stream
always-
that for a few
You
minutes.
can always put it back out. You can always go back and watch. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun.
All right, guys. Thank you for all of the contributions this week, and I think we're all thrilled to be in football season. We'll celebrate and recap it for you Monday morning.